Chapter 2080. Lin nodded and walked out with a smile. Elder Han, are we leaving now? Mr. Lin, you've noticed me? Han Qianba was surprised. He was afraid of disturbing Lin Yi, so he had been walking very carefully. He was an Earth-class mid-phase master, and even though he had just broken through, he was still an Earth-class mid-phase master. How could Lin Yi still sense him? I have too many enemies. I've developed a habit of being on guard. Lin Yi laughed. Han Qianba nodded. He had a question in his mind, but he didn't ask it. He had wanted to ask it since yesterday, and now that Lin Yi had sensed his presence, he wanted to ask even more. Elder Han, do you have something you want to ask me? Lin Yi saw the confusion on Elder Han's face. Mr. Lin, if I may be so bold as to ask, how strong are you? Han Qianba asked carefully. Strength? Can't you tell? Lin Yi asked with a smile. I'm blind. Mr. Lin, are you an Earth-class early phase master? Han Qianba asked. He had seen Lin Yi's martial arts yesterday, and he could feel that Lin Yi was an Earth-class early phase master. But could Lin Yi really be an Earth-class early phase master? Haha, you can tell. Why ask? Lin Yi laughed. But I heard that Mr. Lin can kill 3 Earth-class masters in one move, and one of them was a late phase master? Han Qianba asked doubtfully. With a trump card, of course I can fight someone stronger than me. Lin Yi didn't explain in detail. I see. Han Qianba nodded and didn't ask any more questions. With the addition of Lin Yi to the hidden Han family, there was no need for other disciples to make a move. Only Han Qianba, Han Xiaopa, and Lin Yi quietly rode the Mercedes-Benz S600 to the hidden Zhao family. Lin Yi had never been to the East Ocean where the hidden Zhao family was located. It was the complete opposite of the hidden Han family. One was in the south while the other was in the north. The hidden Zhao family's location was much better than the hidden Han family's location. It was located by the sea and had beautiful scenery. Obviously, this was the benefit of being an old hidden family. Even with the wealth of the hidden Han family, it was hard to buy a large piece of land by the sea and build a manor. After all, the land had been developed, and there were amusement parks, baths, villas, companies, and resorts. Therefore, the hidden Han family could only build their manor in the suburbs of East Ocean City. Is this the hidden Zhao family? It's really grand. Lin Yi looked at the scenery around the Zhao family's manor and said in admiration. Yes, it's here. Han Qianba wasn't envious. My hidden Han family rose up quite late. It's already good enough that we can maintain our status. The scenery around the manor is nothing. The car arrived at the entrance of the hidden Zhao family's manor. However, it was stopped. A disciple of the hidden Zhao family stood in front of the car and said, "This is private property. Unauthorized people are not allowed to enter. Please leave immediately." Normally, the hidden families who came to attend the summit would not drive only one car. At the very least, there would be 2 or 3 cars. However, the hidden Han family only had one Mercedes-Benz, and it had an East Ocean City license plate. Naturally, the disciple guarding the door thought that it was the wrong passenger. We are here to attend the hidden family summit. This is our invitation. Han Xiaopa sat in the driver's seat and took out a red invitation and handed it over. Oh, please wait a moment. When the disciple saw the invitation, his attitude became much more respectful. However, after taking the invitation and opening it, the expression on his face became a little strange. All right. Han Xiaopa nodded and didn't think much of it. However, the disciple handed the invitation to another person beside him. The person took the invitation and glanced at it, then quickly ran inside the manor. In the hidden Zhao family's meeting room, there were already many hidden house masters sitting there. Hidden Zhao family was the organizer of this summit, so naturally old Zhao sat at the head of the table. With old Zhao's identity as a sky-class master, only the masters of House Yu, House Tang, and a few other houses could compare to him. The other hidden house masters were only Earth-class late-phase peak. None of them had broken through to sky-class yet. So it wasn't too much for old Zhao to sit at the head of the table. Master, people from the hidden house Han are here. This disciple was the one in charge of delivering the invitation. People from the hidden house Han are here? Old Zhao paused. They're quite early. How many of them are here? Just one Mercedes-Benz. At most there can't be more than 5 people. The disciple said truthfully. Just one car? Old Master Zhao was instantly stunned. He looked at the various family heads present in confusion. This hidden Han family can't be thinking of giving up, right? Why did he only bring 5 people? If one of them is Han Qianba, then there are only 4 spots left. Are they planning on giving up? Elder Zhao, the strongest disciple from the hidden house Han, is only golden class mid-phase. Aren't you looking for trouble by letting them sign up? The one who spoke was Old Tang of the Hidden House Tang. From what I see, they're just going through the motions and giving up. That's right. Old Master Zhuang of the Hidden Zhuang clan also laughed and said, apart from Old Han, the rest of the disciples are probably here to gain some experience. When the time comes, they might give up on the arena. That'll scare them to death. Elder Zhuang, your Hidden House Zhuang has two brothers, Zhuang Niapeo and Zhuang Niaoqiang. The winner of this duel is yours. The one who spoke was Old Yu of the Hidden House Yu. Aren't we all the same? Would each team be able to win a single match? But Elder Yu and Elder Tang, you two won all 3 rounds. Old Zhuang said enviously. Haha, don't forget that we paid a price as well. How did your 2 disciples level up? Didn't he take our pills? Old Man Tang said. Alright, let's not think about this. Let's just not talk about it. Old Ancestor Yu said faintly. For House Yu, it wasn't that they had to scheme for House Han's belongings. They just wanted to hide House Yu's position in the hidden houses. They were like the boss of the hidden houses. Chapter 2081. That's true, but letting Han Qianba bring his men in now would be giving him too much face. Let's leave them out for a while and let them wait. Old Zhao said, we need to let him know that he's just a lackey in front of us. That's right, let's take them down a notch and make them cower before the fight even starts. Old Pai said, go tell Qibing let him come out and wait in the dark. When the hidden house Han is getting impatient, then let them in. Old Zhao said to the messenger. Now Old Zhao wanted to train Qibing, so he liked to let Qibing do things. At the end of the day, it was all because of the qi gathering pill Qibing had given him. Yes. That person accepted the order and left. Qibing was in the middle of studying the racetrack, and when he received the order, he happily followed the messenger to the entrance of the manor to act cool. One had to know that acting cool was Qibing's specialty and favorite. He'd been hiding in House Zhao recently, so he didn't have the chance to act cool anymore. He had to maintain a gentle and humble attitude towards his family, and this was also for Old Zhao and Elder Bai to see. After all, if he acted arrogantly in House Zhao, he'd easily fall out of favor. Qibing followed the messenger to the guard room at the entrance of the manor. He didn't go out right away but sat there playing games on his phone. The messenger, on the other hand, walked out with a cold face. Han Xiaopa waited here for almost 20 minutes, and when the messenger finally came back, he quickly asked, can we go in now? I'm sorry, your identities have to be verified. We suspect that your invitation was stolen or picked up from somewhere else, so we have to verify your identities. The messenger said coldly. This was what Qibing had taught him. What? Verified? We're members of the Hidden Han family, so what's there to verify? When Han Xiaopa heard the message, he immediately became a little anxious. Xiaopa, don't be rash. Han Qianba, on the other hand, seemed to have figured something out. He sat in the passenger's seat and scolded Han Xiaopa. Then he said to the voice transmission, I am the leader of the Hidden Han family, Han Qianba. May I ask how we can prove our identities? Han Qianba? Your Hidden Han family only sent a few people in a car. Is that even possible? The messenger laughed coldly and said, the other hidden houses all have 4 or 5 cars, at least 3. Are you here to compete? We don't necessarily need a lot of people to participate in the competition. Please find someone who can prove our identity. Han Qianba did not want to waste any more words with this small fry. This watchdog must have been instructed by the Hidden Zhao family to deliberately make things difficult for them. Of course, but the people who can prove it are very busy. You should wait for a while. The messenger said indifferently. Han Xiaopa didn't expect a guard to be so arrogant. He was fuming with anger, but before he could say anything, the messenger had already ignored them. He stood to the side and continued to close the door, treating them like air. Sigh, weak strength and low status. Han Qianba sighed and said, Xiaopa, don't be angry. They are deliberately looking for trouble. What can we do? Bear with it for now. When the time comes for those matches, Mr. Lin will help us get back at them. What a snob. This was Lin Yi's first impression of the Hidden House Zhao. Lin Yi rolled down the window and said impatiently to the messenger, I'll count to 10. Get someone who can prove it or we're going back. We're not participating in the Hidden House Summit. 10, 9, 8, 7. Lin Yi didn't care what the messenger said and started counting down. The messenger didn't expect the Hidden House Han to be so stubborn. They were leaving when he didn't count to 10? How could he take responsibility for this? The Hidden House Summit was a trap for House Han. If House Han left, who else could they trap? So, the messenger hurriedly turned to look at the guardhouse. Although Zhao Qibing was in the guard room, he was still paying attention to what was going on here. There was a voice transmitter in the guard room so he could hear everything clearly. Zhao Qibing wanted to leave them alone for a while and then go out to scold them. He didn't expect them to leave just like that. Seeing that Lin Yi had counted to 1, he turned to Han Xiaopa. Xiaopa, start the car, we're going home. Wait. Zhao Qibing couldn't take it anymore and ran out. Don't you dare. This is the Hidden House Summit, and if the invited hidden houses don't show up, it means that they've given up their hidden house status and are demoted to a normal house. They won't be protected by the elders of the Hidden House Association anymore. Oh, normal house it is then. They don't need your protection, I'll let them join the association I've formed. Lin Yi opened the door and got off the car. He looked at Zhao Qibing coldly and said faintly, Zhao Qibing, is your leg itchy again? Do you want to break it? What? Zhao Qibing was about to explode when he heard the arrogance of House Han. The voice was familiar, but he didn't think much about it until Lin Yi got out of the car. He looked at Lin Yi in disbelief, not understanding why Lin Yi was here all of a sudden. But not knowing didn't stop him from being afraid of Lin Yi. Zhao Guang'er was an Earth-class late phase and even he was killed by Lin Yi. How could he, Zhao Qibing, be a match for Lin Yi? Lin Yi, why are you here? Zhao Qibing stuttered, changing his arrogant tone. It doesn't matter why I'm here, but your leg's about to break. Lin Yi smiled coldly and walked towards Zhao Qibing. Since this guy was able to participate in the race, he had to have some skills. Lin Yi wasn't afraid of him, but he was afraid that he'd play dirty. If he broke his leg now, he wouldn't be able to do anything. No matter how strong House Zhao was, they wouldn't be able to make Zhao Qibing recover in such a short amount of time. After all, the first race of the day was racing. Chapter 2082. Is that so? I think you guys didn't pay enough when we burned down the orphanage? Lin Yi smiled mockingly and walked towards Qibing. Stop. A cold, arrogant voice rang out as a figure stood in front of Qibing, blocking his path. Save me? Qibing breathed out in relief when he saw who it was. Lin Yi, is it? I don't know why you're here, but I'm warning you, don't do anything stupid. Elder Bai said coldly, I know you're strong and no one under Sky Class is your match, but there are quite a few Sky Class masters in this villa. Elder Bai? Lin Yi looked at the old man in front of him, the name matched. That's me. Elder Bai said faintly, the ancient world didn't allow the Sky Class masters of the hidden houses to go out and cause trouble, but if you were to cause trouble here at House Zhao, especially disrupting our annual Hidden House Summit, then don't blame us for being ruthless. I'm sure the ancient world wouldn't let this slide. Elder Bai was right, the ancient level restricted the Sky Class of the hidden houses, but if Lin Yi came to cause trouble for the Hidden House Zhao and broke the Hidden House Summit, then even if the ancient level wanted to investigate, they'd have an excuse. Of course, Elder Bai was just trying to scare Lin Yi. Lin Yi was very strange and his strength was unpredictable. Who knew if he had any trump cards up his sleeves? The main goal now was to ensure that the Hidden House Summit went smoothly. Everything else was secondary and it would be best if there were no conflicts. Oh, I'm not here to mess around. I'm here representing the Hidden House Han to attend the Hidden House Summit. You guys didn't welcome us and rejected us. If that's the case, why don't we just leave? Lin Yi said calmly. Since Elder Bai was here and pointed out that there was a Sky Class here, then Lin Yi really couldn't kill Qibing. If they used this as an excuse to gang up on him, Lin Yi wouldn't be able to handle it. You're here to represent the Hidden House Han? Elder Bai was surprised after hearing Lin Yi's words. That's right, does the Hidden House Summit have a rule that only members of the Hidden House can participate? Lin Yi asked coldly. No. Elder Bai shook his head. The Hidden House Summit had this rule for many years. Naturally, there wasn't a rule that didn't allow people outside the family to participate. After all, a hidden house wasn't like a noble house, where all the core members were from the family. Many of them didn't have the same surname, but those who were talented would be given the surname of the family, like Guang Er and Zhao Qijio. So, if it were strictly, these people wouldn't be part of the Hidden House Zhao, and the Hidden House Summit would allow them to participate as well. But Elder Bai didn't think that a weak house like the Hidden House Han would be able to invite Lin Yi. Just what was their relationship with Lin Yi? Elder Bai's eyes narrowed as he calculated the pros and cons. This Lin Yi was strong, but his participation wouldn't affect the competition much. After all, most of the competitions were fixed events, and even if the Hidden House Han had Lin Yi, they wouldn't be able to turn the tide. Like racing, for example. The Hidden House Zhao would win for sure, and even if Lin Yi was the god of racing, it wouldn't matter because the Hidden House Zhao had a trump card. If you don't, then why are you talking so much? If you welcome us, then open the door. If you don't, then we'll leave. Linny said coldly. Linny, you're just doing your job as a gatekeeper. Don't worry about these small details. Since I've confirmed it, then you can come in. Elderby waved his hand and the gatekeeper opened the door. Linny didn't say anything and got in the Mercedes. He was here to participate in the competition, not to cause trouble. The Mercedes slowly drove into the villa. Naturally, there were people from House Zhao in charge of their accommodations. Elderby, on the other hand, flew back to the meeting room to report. No matter what, Lin Yi's arrival was a change, he had to inform everyone beforehand. Elderby, how was it? Did the hidden house of Han lose? Elder Zhao laughed when he saw Elderby come back. Head of the house. Elderby smiled bitterly and told him everything that had happened outside. What? You're saying that Lin Yi is representing the hidden house Han to participate in the competition? Elder Zhao was shocked. The other hidden house leaders and sect leaders all frowned when they heard Lin Yi's name. Lin Yi's name was known to everyone in the room. This troublemaker gave everyone a headache. Yes, that's what Lin Yi said. Elderby said, but the hidden house only sent 3 people. One is Lin Yi, one is Han Tianba, and the last is a 3rd-generation disciple. I don't know his name yet. Only 3? What's going on? Elder Zhao frowned. That Lin Yi's participating in all the matches alone? That's not necessarily true. Elder Zhao, aren't you overestimating that Lin Yi? It was Elder Tang who spoke. He said faintly, Lin Yi has some aces up his sleeves, but he won't be able to do much in this competition, right? That's true. After hearing Grandfather Tang's words, Grandfather Zhao nodded his head. Every match has been set up beforehand. We will be using each family's strengths. For example, how to dodge hidden weapons. Even if our families were to compete with the Tang family's younger generation, we would not be a match for them. That's right. For example, this duel, no matter how strong that Lin Yi is, he won't be able to fight against the 2 Zhuang brothers. Zhuang Niaoqiang and Zhuang Niapeo work well together, and they've fought together many times. Even if the hidden Tang family sent their elites, they wouldn't be able to win. Elder Tang smiled. However, the hidden old Yu's face was a little gloomy. The others were not afraid, but he was a little worried. You are not afraid, but I'm afraid our hidden Yu's alchemy competition will lose. That Lin Yi is an alchemist. Chapter 2083. Icham. That's true? Elder Tang's eyes flashed. I forgot that Lin Yi is a refiner. Ha. Why don't we just kill this Lin Yi silently? This time, the one who spoke was the current head of the Golden Clock sect, Jin Wudi's senior brother, Jin Gang. Jin Gang had been focused on the sect, not caring about the sect's affairs, leaving it to Jin Wudi to manage. However, he didn't expect that the pride of the Golden Clock sect would be crippled, and Jin Wudi would die trying to avenge him. All of this had to do with a person named Lin Yi from the common world. Jin Gang had wanted to kill when he heard the name Lin Yi, but he didn't have the chance to say it. At this time, the hidden house Yu wasn't sure if they could win the competition, so he suggested it. Elder Yu's eyelid twitched. He had to admit that Jin Gang's idea wasn't bad, and with the strength of the people here, there were many Sky-class masters. Killing Lin Yi wouldn't be too hard. Elder Yu, what do you think? Elder Yu's position here was high, but House Yu's position was higher, so he decided to listen to the hidden House Yu's suggestion. Unrealistic. Old Ancestor Yu pointed at the sky and said faintly, every hidden house summit, the ancient level pays close attention to it. This time we've already done some dirty things in the dark. It's just that we don't want to leave any evidence behind. But if we go too far and someone dies, we won't be able to bear the consequences if the higher-ups blame us. Elder Yu's face changed. Indeed, he had received hints from the Sky Elixir sect before this summit. Suppressing the hidden house Hans and tricking them was fine, but the bottom line was that no one died. As long as no one died, then the hidden house Hans wouldn't be able to retaliate, and they wouldn't have the mentality of dying together. And if someone really died, the other ancient sects would interfere, and the Sky Elixir sect wouldn't be able to control it. Plus, the Sky Elixir sect was playing a big game of chess right now, and they couldn't let the hidden house Yu cause trouble. That's right, killing Lin Yi at the hidden house summit isn't very likely. Old man Yu said, the rules of the previous hidden house summits are there. Friendship first, competition second. Only competing with skills, not fighting to the death. Diamond Drill sighed. His provocation had failed. It seemed that none of these hidden family heads were idiots. They would never do something that went against the ancient rules. If he wanted revenge, he could only rely on himself. Hey, if something goes wrong and you die in the solo trial, you can't blame us, right? The one who spoke was the sect leader of Qianshan sect. Qianshan sect was a sect that mainly reared spiritual beasts. Sect leader, well, what do you think? And Mingyue asked. That's right, this person was Mingyue Jiangwen's father. Previously he was from the family of the 5 small aristocratic families, but now he appeared at the summit of the hidden aristocratic families. However, he wasn't representing the family. He was representing the Fire Wolf Gang's North Division to participate in the Hidden House Summit. With the Fire Wolf Gang's strength, they were naturally on equal footing with the hidden aristocratic families. It wasn't strange for him to appear here. Plus, the Fire Wolf Gang was one of the local tyrants of Donghai City. Holding the Hidden House Summit here, they couldn't ignore them. And Mingyue hated Lin Yi to the core. He hoped that the kid would die quickly. He had wanted to go along with Diamond Drill from the Golden Clock sect, but Diamond Drill's suggestion was rejected, so he didn't say anything. Now that sect leader Wu from the Qianshan sect spoke, and Mingyue didn't mind adding fuel to the fire. Haha, this competition, the final hidden competition, is a challenge that my Qianshan sect has come up with. The one who can last the longest against the ancient spiritual beast wins. Sect leader Wu smiled sinisterly. I can hint to the ancient spirit beast and let it take Lin Yi's life. It's not impossible. Everyone's eyes brightened up. Yeah, if something went wrong and he died in this competition, then it had nothing to do with the others. Being killed by a spiritual beast and being killed by a disciple of another family were 2 completely different things. Spirit beasts weren't humans after all, and it was normal for them to go crazy for no reason. If Lin Yi were to get killed by the spirit beast due to his lack of strength, then he'd just blame it on his bad luck. Even if the ancient sects were to ask about it, he'd be able to push all the blame away. Because no one did it but the spiritual beast did it. They couldn't be bothered with an animal, right? Although spiritual beasts were raised by the Qianshan sect, it was just temporary. Spiritual beasts had their own opinions and might run away one day. Killing a person had nothing to do with the Qianshan sect. Sect leader, well, are you confident? Elder Yu's eyes lit up. The Yu family and Lin Yi had a deep grudge, so he was naturally interested in this matter. Yes, sect leader, what is what you said true? The one who spoke was Elder Zhao. The hidden house Zhao and Lin Yi's grudge wasn't small either. I do have some confidence, but if we do this, it won't benefit our Qianshan sect at all? Sect leader was said faintly, our Qianshan sect has no grudge with that Lin Yi, and no matter how strong Lin Yi is, he won't be able to win the competition that we set up. Sect leader was words made sense. Lin Yi and the Qianshan sect didn't interact much, and they weren't afraid of losing the competition. Elder Yu and Elder Zhao looked at each other and then at the old ancestor of House Yu. Elder Yu, your House Yu has a grudge with Lin Yi too, right? What do you think? I won't participate? The old ancestor of House Yu said faintly. Elder Yu, that Lin Yi can even kill an Earth-class late-phase master. I won't deny that your hidden House Yu is strong, but even if you're strong, can you win against Lin Yi in the single arena? Elder Zhao naturally wanted to drag more people into the water. Only by giving more benefits to the Qianshan sect could the Qianshan sect's leader help kill Lin Yi. Haha, the competition doesn't allow killing. I've studied it before that Lin Yi's moves are all killing moves, one fatal move. If he doesn't use those moves, he might not be able to win against our House Yu's masters. The old ancestor of House Yu was a calm person. Before, he found trouble with Lin Yi to steal the Qi-gathering pill, not to harm Lin Yi's life. Chapter 2084. Seeing that House Yu wasn't going to budge, House Yu and House Tang's old man had no choice but to look at House Pai, who also had conflicts with Lin Yi. House Yu's old man said, Old Pai, what about you? Lin Yi killed quite a lot of your people, didn't he? Although we have some misunderstanding with Lin Yi, our grudge with Lin Yi isn't that big right now, and we don't want to get involved. House Pai's elder was a shrewd man. It was good that Lin Yi was dead, but what if he wasn't? If he wasn't killed by the spirit beast, then the hidden House Pai wouldn't be able to handle it. Hidden House Pai only had one Sky-class early-phase physical practitioner, the big brother of House Pai's elder. But Lin Yi could even kill an Earth-class late-phase spiritual practitioner, so it wouldn't be hard for him to kill a Sky-class early-phase physical practitioner as well. So, House Pai didn't want to get involved in this. If they went for wool and came home shorn, then they'd be screwed. Headmaster Jin Gang, what do you think? House Yu's elder didn't have a choice other than him and House Zhao's elder. No one else supported killing Lin Yi. Even House Tang's elder had some conflicts with Lin Yi, but it wasn't to the point of death. So the only one left was the headmaster Jean Gang of the Golden Clock sect. My grudge with that Lin Yi won't end until one of us is dead. If we can really kill Lin Yi, then we'll do whatever you say. Jean Gang said. All right. House Yu's elder finally found another friend, and he looked at Mingyue. Mr. An, I heard that your son and Lin Yi have a deep grudge? The Fire Wolf Gang's grudge can be resolved by ourselves. And Mingyue was even cleverer. The three houses had decided to kill Lin Yi already, and it wasn't just one or two houses, but if all three were to offer some benefits, it would be enough to move the Gone Mountain sect's headmaster. So Mingyue didn't need to join in the fun. It would be great if Lin Yi died, but he didn't. Plus, he didn't have the final say in the Fire Wolf Gang. He was just a representative, different from the other hidden houses. The treasures that Mingyue brought were just enough to bet. One more wouldn't make a difference. When he returned, he would have to hand in the exact amount. Naturally, he didn't have anything to give to Chen Mountain sect, so he didn't participate. Headmaster, each of us will take out one treasure. After this is done, we'll give it to you as a gift. What do you think? The three of us will offer one treasure each. After this is over, what do you think of it? How would sect leader Wu of Chen Mountain sect not understand the meaning in old Zhao's words? But he was confident, so he just said lightly, 3 treasures of heaven and earth. It can't be said to be a lot, but it's better than nothing. It's settled then. Leave this matter to me. Okay. Old Master Zhao nodded and said, great, then it's decided. Old Man Zhao, Old Man Yu, and Diamond Drill were not afraid that these private conversations would spread to the ancient times. Everyone present was a part of the conspiracy against the hidden Han family. Everyone's but was not clean, so they were not afraid that someone would gossip in private. Han Qianba, Han Xiaopa, and Lin Yi entered the Zhao manor, naturally not knowing that the heads of the other houses were plotting against them. But with Elder Bai's orders, no one dared disrespect them on the way. Originally, according to the hidden house Zhao's plan, even if the hidden house Han moved in, the disciples would just treat them coldly. But with the addition of Lin Yi, Elder Bai didn't go looking for trouble. Lin Yi was a pain in the ass and he'd let the head figure out how to deal with him. He didn't want to piss off a madman like Lin Yi. These snobbish slaves. Han Xiaopa sat in the courtyard of the guest room prepared by the Zhao family and drank hot tea. He said hatefully, after seeing Boss, his attitude immediately changed 180 degrees. If Boss didn't come this time, we probably wouldn't even get to drink hot tea. Xiaopa, the training world is like this. The one with the strongest fist talks. Han Qianba wasn't angry. He shook his head and seemed to have accepted it. Our hidden house is weak now, so it's normal for them to bully us. With Mr. Lin joining, they're afraid of Mr. Lin's power, so it's normal for them to treat us with respect. After we win a few matches, let's see if they still dare to treat us like this. Han Xiaopa humphed. Winning the matches is secondary. The main thing is that you have a powerful boss. Han Qianba smiled. Han Xiaopa paused, but he understood what Han Qianba meant. Han Qianba wanted him to use this hidden house summit to spread the news that he had accepted Lin Yi as his boss. However, although Han Xiaopa understood, he still looked at Lin Yi. Lin Yi naturally understood what Han Qianba meant, but he didn't mind. Han Xiaopa was a loyal little brother and he was even asking for his opinion. This made Lin Yi even more satisfied. He nodded. During the duels, I will tell them. Thank you, boss. Han Xiaopa was overjoyed and quickly thanked him. The three of them rested in the garden for a while. Then a disciple of the hidden house Zhao ran over. However, he had an hidden house summit service staff tag on his neck. Clearly he had something to tell the hidden house Han. Is the head of the Han family here? The disciple ran over and asked respectfully. Clearly he had been instructed by Elder Bai. His attitude was very good. Elder Zhao had already made the decision to let the Gone Mountain sect do something to Lin Yi in the last hidden match. Naturally he wouldn't piss off Lin Yi. I am Han Qianba of the hidden house Han. What can I do for you, envoy? Han Qianba stood up and asked. The staff members of the hidden house summit were called envoys. This was a rule that had been in place for many years. Head of the Han family, please head to the meeting room. We need to discuss the first match. The disciple said. Okay, please lead the way. Han Qianba nodded and made an inviting gesture. The disciple brought Han Qianba to the meeting room and said, Head of the Han family, please enter. Han Qianba walked into the meeting room and saw the various family heads, elders, and sect leaders sitting around the conference table. His heart sank. It seemed that the situation was just as he had guessed and the information he had received. These hidden families and sects had joined forces to deal with the hidden Han family. Chapter 2085. Greetings, elders and headmaster. Han Qianba cupped his fists and bowed according to the rules of the martial world. Patriarch Han, come and take a seat. You're the only one left. Old Master Zhao smiled and pretended to be enthusiastic. Since Han Qianba was already here, he wasn't afraid and sat down on an empty seat. All right, since Master Han is here, then we can begin the Hidden House Summit. Elder Zhao nodded and started talking. Everyone knows that the purpose of the Hidden House Summit is for the children of each house to have a chance to train. It's also to urge them to work hard and achieve better results, so I won't go into the details. Ah, that's right. It's not even the first time Old Master Han has participated in the Hidden House Summit. Naturally, there's no need for introductions. Let's talk about the rules and competition of this year's Hidden House Summit. That's right. There were some loopholes in the rules of the last summit. The Hidden House of Han forfeited every single round and refused to participate. That's not right. If every single Hidden House refused to participate, then what's the point of this trial? Old Zhao said. Han Qianba laughed coldly. He already knew that this year's Hidden House Summit was targeted at his house, so he knew about the rules beforehand. Yeah, but last year Hidden House Han was a newcomer, so we treated it as a spectator. This year we can't do that again. Elder Tang said. So, this year's rules have been discussed and we've made some minor changes. Old Man Zhao said, that is, every family and sect must participate in every competition. Even if they forfeit, they must still place a bet. This way, it will prevent people from being opportunistic and only placing bets on the events that they are good at, causing the competition to be unfair. Fair? Old Grandfather Han thought to himself, your rules sound fair, but to the Hidden Han family, it's the most unfair. That's right. Rules need to be perfected for it to be fair. Elder Zhuang nodded. This year's competition, regardless of whether or not they signed up, they must place a bet. Even if they forfeit, they must place a bet. Elder Zhao said, I'll explain the rules in detail. Alright, we're all ears. Elder Pai said. Han Qianba felt like they were being hypocritical. Luckily he had Lin Yi's help, or else he would have been pissed to death. For every match, every house must take out a treasure as a bet. Whether they participate or forfeit, they must place a bet. Old Man Zhao explained, and the winner of every match will be able to obtain all the bets other than the second and third place bets. And the second and third place bets will be able to retrieve their family's belongings after the end of the match. At the same time, the person in first place also had the right to exchange. For example, if the item he favored was in second or third place, he could use any item in the wager to exchange with the person in second or third place, and the person in second or third place could not refuse. The person in second place also had the right to exchange, but he could only forcefully exchange the items of the person in third place. He couldn't forcefully exchange the items of the person in first place. Of course, if the person in first place agreed, they could also exchange. The third place didn't have the right to exchange, but if the second and third place agreed, they could exchange with each other. Of course, if all the houses forfeit, or if the houses that didn't forfeit all lose the match, then each house will take back their bets and the match will be invalid. Of course, if all the houses forfeit, or the houses that didn't forfeit all lose the match, then each house will take back their bets and the match will be invalid. This rule was very simple. After Old Man Zhao explained it, everyone understood. To put it bluntly, everyone was working together to trick the Han family. There was nothing strange about it. This rule was developed by everyone except for Han Qianba. Han Qianba himself also got the general idea from other sources. Now that he heard it, it was more detailed and more explanation for the second and third place. Everyone, do you have any objections to this rule? Elder Zhao asked. Han Qianba was speechless. This rule was created by everyone. What objections? Even if I had objections, would you accept it if I brought it up? Alright, if there are no objections, then let's move on to the first match, the car race. Elder Zhao looked at Han Qianba's sullen face and felt very refreshed. He thought that they had a chance with Lin Yi, but now it seemed like it was nothing. Although Lin Yi was said to be very powerful, he might not be that powerful in a race like this. And this is a trial for the disciples. Us old guys shouldn't waste time. Elder Yu said. Since it's a competition to motivate the disciples, let's start now. Naturally, Elder Yu is a man of virtue and prestige. Does anyone have any objections? Elder Zhao asked. Since House Yu's old ancestor had spoken, who else would dare to object? Alright, since no one has any objections, let's go back and get ready. We'll bring our disciples and bets to the meeting hall at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. After that, we'll head to the mountain behind our Zhao family for the race. Master Zhao said. After Elder Zhao finished, the elders and heads of the houses left as well, returning to their temporary residences to prepare for the competition in the afternoon. Although the first place had already been decided internally, the second and third places had not been decided internally. Therefore, those families that had not been decided internally as the first place were all wondering if they could get the second or third place. This way they could at least keep their bets and not lose money. In other words, although these hidden houses and sects had agreed to harm the hidden house Han, they were still competing internally. Whoever got the second or third place would be the biggest winner. Han Qianba returned to his residence and Han Xiaopa immediately stood up to greet him. "Grandpa, how was it?" As expected, the rules were pretty much the same as what we heard. "You have to bet even if you forfeit," Han Qianba said. "Luckily we prepared in advance and had Mr. Lin. Otherwise we would have lost badly." "As expected." Han Xiaopa nodded. "When does the first match start? Which event are we competing in?" Chapter 2086. "Yes." Han Xiaopa replied. "Mr. Lin, thank you." Han Qianba said. "It's nothing." Linny waved his hand. At 1 o'clock sharp, the patriarchs and sect leaders of the various clans and sects that had appeared in the morning all brought their disciples to the meeting hall. These clans and sects were different from the Han family. Usually, the patriarchs or sect leaders would only bring one disciple to participate in the competition. The other disciples would stay in their residences to rest and build up their strength. After all, there was no suspense about the winner of this competition, and there was no point in watching it. They weren't familiar with the content of the competition, so they might as well take a break and shock the world in the next competition. "Old Master Han, who's the hidden house Han sending? Why are there two?" Old Zhao asked mischievously when he saw House Zhao registering the bets and the competition list. "Mr. Lin, of course." Han Qianba smiled, not angry at all. "Xiaopa is just here to see the world." "All right." Elder Zhao had a disciple register Lin Yi's name, and glanced at the treasure in Han Tianba's hand. It was a 1,000-year-old Lingji mushroom, a great ingredient for medicine refinement. It seemed that the hidden house Han knew the rules too, and they couldn't use items that were too low level as stakes. "Old Zhao, who's the Zhao sending? Don't tell me it's Zhao Qibing, that god of misfortune?" Linny looked at old Zhao and mocked. Linny had gotten the news from Han Tianba a long time ago. This was a meeting of the hidden houses, and they weren't allowed to fight to the death. They couldn't hurt people in private either, so he wasn't worried about his safety. After all, the ancient level was watching. Zhao Qibing is the god of racing. Since when did he become the god of misfortune? Don't talk nonsense. I'll warn you as the organizer that you're cursing him." Old Zhao said coldly. "I'm not cursing him. I should be warning you not to talk nonsense." Linny curled his lips. "I'm just speaking the truth. Zhao Qibing's legs are easy to break. Whatever you say. We'll see if you're strong enough in the competition." Old Zhao thought. He'll let Linny talk for now, and when the time comes he'll let the Qianshan sect kill him. After everyone registered, the group arrived at the back mountain of the hidden Zhao family's manor. This was also the hidden Zhao family's private territory. The winding mountain road could be used as a private racetrack. At this moment, at the foot of the mountain, there was already a row of brand new Volkswagen Jetta cars. Each car was printed with the surname of each family and sect. Obviously, all the participating disciples knew the model of the car and didn't feel that there was anything wrong with it. There are no rules in this race. The first to reach the finish line at the top of the mountain wins. Old Master Zhao said, "In order to show the fairness of the competition, I would like to invite two highly respected representatives to check if all the cars are the same." It was a brand new car and had not been tampered with. Elder Yu and Elder Yu, both of them were Sky-class masters. "Please excuse me." "All right. No problem." Elder Yu and Elder Yu nodded and went to check the car. Lin Yi sneered at the scene before him. This was simply fooling a ghost. These two were in cahoots with the hidden Zhao family. They were fooling the hidden Han family together. Asking them to check? What could they find out? Fair. However, the hidden house Han was weak now and the rules were set by them. They couldn't do anything about it. After a while, Elder Yu and Elder Yu said at the same time, "The cars are all brand new." "All right, since Elder Yu and Elder Yu have done the fairness, then all the participants please get on the car marked with your surname and sect. The competition will start with the sound of the horn. Once the horn sounds, the race will begin." Old Zhao said. Linny looked coldly at Zhao Qibing not far away. A strange smile appeared on his face as he walked towards the car marked with House Han. Zhao Qibing felt a chill down his spine from Lin Yi's stare. He didn't know what that smile meant, but he still scoffed and forced himself to get on his car calmly. What was there to be afraid of? Racing wasn't a fight, it was too easy for him to beat him. One had to know that his car was modified, the only one out of all the cars that had been modified. As for Elder Yu and Elder Yu's inspection, it was just a formality. House Zhao was the host of this hidden noble house summit, and the other events were all taken by others. As the host, it wouldn't be right if House Zhao didn't win at least one race. But compared to Zhao Qikuan of the hidden Zhao family, he didn't have much of an advantage, so in order to balance the competition, they added a race and gave the championship to the hidden House Zhao. Zhao Qibing was good at racing and he had the advantage of being familiar with the terrain, but other hidden houses, other than the hidden House Han, could invite other racers as helpers. It was just that the championship was decided internally, so it wasn't troublesome. With a loud horn, Lin Yi quickly stepped on the accelerator, and the car sped forward. After that, Lin Yi started shifting gears non-stop until he reached the highest gear. He stepped on the accelerator as well, maintaining his position in the lead among all the cars. This move of Lin Yi stunned all the elders and sect masters. Was Lin Yi really good at driving? Elder Zhao, on the other hand, was also thankful that he had a trick up his sleeves. Zhao Qibing's car was modified, otherwise this competition would be over. This Lin Yi really couldn't be underestimated. He was a practitioner, and his driving skills were so good that even Zhao Qibing, who often raced in illegal races abroad, wasn't his match. Although Zhao Qibing's start wasn't as good as Lin Yi's, it didn't take long for the modified car to show its advantage. Lin Yi and the others all had naturally aspirated engines, but Zhao Qibing's was a turbocharged one. After the turbocharged, the car's speed increased, and in an instant, it overtook Lin Yi's car, leaving Lin Yi far behind. Lin Yi's understanding of cars wasn't any less than Zhao Qibing's, and it could even be said that he knew more than Zhao Qibing. He frowned when he saw Zhao Qibing's car overtaking him. Lin Yi had been speeding up since the horn sounded, and his speed was now over 160 miles per hour. Lin Yi was still speeding up, and Lin Yi's car, on the other hand, was at least 230 miles per hour, and it was still speeding up. Was this even possible? It wasn't as if Lin Yi had never driven a Jetta before, and 200 miles per hour at most. Even for Lin Yi, it wasn't easy to stay at 220 miles per hour. Chapter 2087. Bookmark, providing you with interesting reading. After all, the mountain road was bumpy, and Qibing was still accelerating at 223? It didn't take long for him to realize that something was wrong. So he immediately realized that there was something wrong with Qibing's car. As for the inspection by Grandpa Yu and Grandpa Yu, it was all a cover-up. He'd have a good chance of winning if they were both using the same car, but the cars were different. He wasn't confident even if he was one of the best racers in the world when it came to competing with a modified car with a regular car. Fuck, isn't this too much? How is this possible? Han Xiaopa saw that Qibing's car, which was originally second to Lin Yi, had suddenly overtaken Lin Yi. He wasn't happy at all. Qibing's car is obviously problematic. Have you ever seen a Jetta that can go 220 or 30 miles per hour? And the acceleration is so fast, there's obviously something wrong with the engine. What? Grandpa Han, does your family have something to say? Grandpa Zhao looked at Han Xiaopa and asked coldly, could it be that you're doubting the fairness of Grandpa Yu and Grandpa Yu? Xiaopa, don't talk nonsense. Han Qianba sighed inwardly. He really couldn't say anything under these circumstances. If he said too much, he'd offend House Yu and House Yu as well. Now that the hidden House Han was on the decline, it'd be a waste if they found an excuse to cause trouble. How could Han Xiaopa not understand his grandpa's meaning? He sighed and didn't say anything else, feeling quite regretful. He'd thought that Lin Yi would be able to win the race after seeing how good his driving skills were, leading from the very start. But it seemed like that was nothing more than a pipe dream. Very quickly, Lin Yi used his superb driving skills to increase the speed of his car to 210 kilometers. 220 kilometers. But he realized helplessly that Lin Yi's speed was close to 267 kilometers per hour. If his car wasn't modified, then Lin Yi's speed would be the limit. The official speed of this car was only 175 kilometers per hour. Lin Yi was already seriously exceeding the speed limit. Was Qibing's car an airplane? JJ. Zhao Qibing looked at Lin Yi's car that was getting smaller and smaller in the rearview mirror. He was overjoyed. You think you're good at driving just because you're skilled? I can't beat you to death. However, there was a bend in the road ahead, and Qibing had no choice but to slow down. The bend in the mountain road was no joke, and with such high speed, even if he was a golden class practitioner, he'd be crippled from the fall if he wasn't careful. While Qibing was slowing down, Lin Yi was still maintaining his speed of 220 miles per hour, using the inertia to accelerate. Fuck, are you crazy? Qibing cursed silently as he watched Lin Yi's car speed towards him like a madman, but he didn't dare to speed up too much. He wanted to win the competition, but he valued his life even more. What was the point of winning the competition if he died? Qibing didn't dare to be careless as he entered the bend. He controlled the speed to be around 160 kilometers per hour. He was afraid that he wouldn't be able to control it if it was too fast. With his driving skills, this speed was already his limit. However, in the next moment, Qibing was shocked to find that Lin Yi had entered the mountain road at a speed of 230 miles per hour. Drifting through the bend without slowing down at all. And so, after a few drifts, Lin Yi caught up with Qibing, and Qibing's car was already in front of him. Fuck, luckily there's a straight road ahead, or else this madman would have caught up with me. Qibing looked at the rearview mirror and thanked himself for his luck. After entering the mountain road, there was a straight road ahead. On this kind of road, Qibing could use his advantage of unlimited acceleration again. And so, just as Lin Yi was about to catch up with Qibing accelerated again and left Lin Yi in the dust. Wah! Qibing laughed delightfully. Ever since he met Lin Yi, this was the first time Lin Yi lost, so he was very happy. In the past, he was always the one losing to Lin Yi, but this time he reversed the situation. Lin Yi wasn't angry, nor was he irritated. Instead, he calmly watched as Qibing sped up again, leaving him far behind. Although Lin Yi's driving skills were undeniable and he wasn't weak at all, but when it came to driving he was still a far cry from Qibing. Even if Lin Yi's skills were heaven-defying, drifting through the bends non-stop, he was still no match for Qibing. Qibing's car was too good, and he could kill Lin Yi in a split second when accelerating in a straight line. It's fine if you guys play by the rules, but since you're playing dirty with me, then don't blame me for not going easy on you. Lin Yi shook his head and said faintly. After Lin Yi calculated that he wouldn't be Qibing's opponent no matter what he did, Lin Yi didn't plan to play according to the rules anymore. Since Qibing broke the rules first, then don't blame Lin Yi for not going easy on him. Lin Yi was still driving calmly, but he had secretly started to condense a pure energy bomb in his right hand. Lin Yi hadn't used this trump card against others for a long time, and he didn't expect to use it again this time on Qibing. Of course, Lin Yi didn't plan to kill Lin Yi. Since the rules of the competition didn't allow killing, if Lin Yi made too big of a commotion, it would attract suspicion and he might get into trouble. After all, there were several Sky-class masters here, and Lin Yi wasn't that crazy yet. But if he made a small accident so that no one could find any evidence, then there wouldn't be a problem. And so, Lin Yi stopped condensing the pure energy bomb after condensing it, and focused on driving, waiting for the next turn. Finally, after passing through a straight section of the road, they arrived at the bend again. This winding mountain road was very strange. There was a mountain road, and a mountain road. It was like a racetrack specially designed for racing. From Lin Yi's point of view, this was probably an underground racetrack. Otherwise, if it was just for the Hidden Noble House's meeting every year, there was no need for Hidden House Zhao to spend so much money to build a racetrack. Plus, Hidden House Zhao wouldn't be hosting the meeting every year. This was probably a place for Hidden House Zhao to make money in the dark. Hidden Noble Houses couldn't do business in the open, but doing business in the dark without being discovered by the Hidden Noble House's arbitration committee wasn't a problem. Plus, the Hidden Noble House's arbitration committee only existed in name now, and the few elders were the ancestors of the various houses. Hidden House Zhao naturally wouldn't be afraid of anything. Chapter 2088. Lin Yi rolled down the window a little and the cold mountain wind blew into the car, making a weird whining sound. But this kind of wind was nothing to Lin Yi, and Lin Yi didn't mind at all. Lin Yi was just waiting for the right opportunity. Turn, drift, turn again, drift again. The distance between Lin Yi's car and Zhao Qibing's car was getting smaller and smaller, and Lin Yi smiled coldly as he threw the pure energy bomb at Zhao Qibing's right rear tire. With a loud bang, the right rear tire of Zhao Qibing's car exploded, and he lost control of his car in that instant. Due to the high speed, his car spun a few times on the curve, then rolled down the winding mountain road. This mountain road was specially built for racing, and it wasn't very steep. Even if Zhao Qibing's car fell down, it wouldn't crash and kill him. Plus, Zhao Qibing's car must have had a lot of safety measures installed, so he wasn't afraid of falling to his death. Zhao Qibing was very pleased with himself, but he didn't think that his car would roll over like that. He screamed in shock, but no one could hear him. Lin Yi's car rolled behind Zhao Qibing's car, brushing past him. Using the pure energy bomb to destroy Zhao Qibing's car was something that Lin Yi did very secretively, and so no one at the foot of the mountain saw that it was Lin Yi's doing. They only saw Zhao Qibing's car suddenly go out of control and roll down the mountain road. Qibing. Old Zhao saw Zhao Qibing's car rolling down, and he couldn't care less anymore as he yelled and quickly rushed to the scene of the accident. The elders of the other clans and the leaders of the sects all followed behind old Zhao and ran towards the scene of the accident. Zhao Qibing's car had been modified, and the safety measures were naturally modified as well. The accident this time was serious, but Zhao Qibing's life wasn't in danger. But when old Zhao got Zhao Qibing out of the car, Zhao Qibing's legs were crushed by the car. "Qibing, how are you?" Elder Zhao asked as he helped Qibing reconnect the bones in his leg. "Grandpa, it hurts." Qibing's heart was filled with unwillingness. He was so close to victory, but he didn't think that his car would have a flat tire. "Qibing, what's going on? Did Lin Yi harm you?" Old Zhao subconsciously thought of Lin Yi. Only Lin Yi would have the motive to harm him. Plus, Lin Yi's car was the closest to Zhao Qibing's, so it was most likely to be tampered with. "I have no idea." Zhao Qibing endured the pain. "I don't know what happened, the tires just burst." "Flat tire?" Elder Zhao looked at the right rear tire of Zhao Qibing's car. He wanted to see if there was anything wrong with it, but he couldn't find anything. He turned to Elder Tang and asked, "Elder Tang, the Hidden House Tang has a deep understanding of hidden weapons. Please take a look and see if this tire was broken by a hidden weapon." After all, with Lin Yi's strength, it would be a piece of cake for him to use a hidden weapon or a stone to burst a tire, but old Zhao couldn't be sure. "All right." Grandfather Tang nodded his head as he carefully examined the punctured tire. After a while, he shook his head and said, "It doesn't look like it was caused by a hidden weapon or an irregular injury. Rather, it looks like it was caused by an explosion." "Oh? So, it really was a tire burst?" Old Zhao didn't doubt old Tang's judgment. After all, Hidden House Tang was a house that specialized in hidden weapons. If old Tang said that it wasn't a hidden weapon, then it really wasn't. "That's right?" Old Tang nodded. It was strange, but according to his judgment, it really was caused by a tire burst. "Why am I so unlucky?" Qibing was furious when he heard that his tire had exploded out of nowhere. He could have won against Lin Yi, but he'd lost the chance to do so. This car, which disciple was in charge of maintaining it? Old Zhao was furious as well. They were going to lose this competition, and they wouldn't be able to get back their bet. Even the second and third place didn't have a chance. How could old Zhao, who wanted to be the champion, be satisfied? But there was nothing he could do. The tire burst was an accident, and Zhao Qibing could only blame his bad luck. I was wondering why the car was driving so fast. It really was a problematic car." Han Xiaopa curled his lips. He didn't know if it was Lin Yi's doing, but no matter what, Zhao Qibing's car had crashed was a good thing for Lin Yi. Old Zhao's face darkened. How could he not tell that Han Xiaopa was taking pleasure in his misfortune? Yumph. People make mistakes, horses stumble. It's normal for a car to have a problem. What's there to be surprised about? No, didn't Elder Zhao say that the car was inspected by Elder Yu and Elder Yu? Is there no problem? Han Qianba said with a smile. They're not professional car engineers. How could they tell if there's a problem with the car? Old Zhao frowned. Maybe the modification workers are too bad? Han Qianba said. But no matter what, no matter how unhappy old Zhao was, he had to find the disciples of his house and send Zhao Qibing back for treatment. This race couldn't continue no matter what. The Hidden House Zhao had to withdraw from the race because of the crash. This was originally a competition designed for the Hidden Zhao family, but in the end, the Hidden Zhao family lost everything. On the other side of the mountain, Lin Yi had successfully crossed the finish line. This result made some happy and some sad. Han Qianba was naturally happy and so was Han Xiaopa. But the other hidden houses weren't as happy. They said that they would take turns to be the banker, but they lost the first round. The most infuriating thing was that the winner was the Hidden House Han that they had been targeting together. If they knew that the Hidden House Han would win, they wouldn't have set up this race. But the rules were set. They couldn't go back on their words, could they? Plus, if they went back on their words in the first round, would they still be able to compete in the future? So, according to the rules, Lin Yi won and won everything except the second and third place. Chapter 2089. Although it wasn't hard to find the recipe for this kind of medicine, The ingredients were extremely difficult to find. It was considered a rare item, but it wasn't very useful for spiritual practitioners. First race, Hidden House Han wins. After settling Zhao Qibing down, old Zhao endured the pain in his heart and placed the treasures in front of Han Tianba. Do you want to exchange for the second and third places items? After old Master Zhao finished this sentence, he desperately winked at old Master Yu, who was in second place. Because, in this pile of treasures, there was something that Hidden House Zhao urgently needed. It was contributed by Hidden House Zhuang. Hidden House Zhuang gave face to Hidden House Zhao. Hidden House Zhao was supposed to be the champion of this race, so this item would eventually fall into the hands of Hidden House Zhao. However, they didn't expect that Lin Yi would appear out of nowhere. Old Zhao was determined to get that item, so he hoped that Hidden House Yu would use their right to exchange with Lin Yi. Han Qianba didn't say anything and looked at Lin Yi. After all, the winner was Lin Yi, and according to the agreement, these treasures belonged to Lin Yi. It was up to Lin Yi to decide whether to exchange or not. Lin Yi looked at the things he got. There weren't many useful things. They were all treasures that might be useful for alchemy in the future, but they weren't useful at the moment. However, Hidden House Yu's Qi Gathering Pill and Hidden House Pai's Body Refining Elixir were things that Lin Yi really wanted. But unexpectedly, these two families still won. However, Lin Yi did not speak at this moment. Instead, he quietly observed the situation. Old Zhao kept signaling old Yu, who was hiding in the Yu family, with his eyes. He was afraid that old Zhao was plotting something. Lin Yi was not in a hurry. He said lightly, "You family head, you don't need to exchange with me, right? If you don't want to exchange, I'll exchange with Hidden House Pai." Cough cough. Old Master Zhao coughed violently. He was afraid that the Yu family would miss the opportunity. It seemed that Lin Yi didn't want the small Qi Gathering Pill hidden in the hands of the Yu family, so he proposed to exchange with the third place first. Otherwise, why didn't Lin Yi directly exchange with the second hidden Yu family? Could it be that there was something wrong with Lin Yi's logic? "Mr. Lin, I'd like to trade for a treasure. Is that possible?" The person in second place had the right to ask the person in first place for an exchange and the person in third place for an exchange, so he asked. Lin Yi pretended to be surprised and asked, "What do you want to exchange for?" "I want to exchange for the 500-year-old lotus in your hand," said Old Man Yu. 500-year-old lotus. Lin Yi glanced at the treasure in his hand and said indifferently, "This thing is really useless to me, but I don't want to exchange it with you." Old Man Yu paused and asked, "Since it's useless, why not exchange it?" "Yeah, this 500-year-old lotus is rare, but the small Qi Gathering Pill is also a good thing. It can let a practitioner break through from the peak of the late phase to the earth class. It's hard to buy." Old Man Zhao also added, "This 500-year-old lotus is just a supplement. It can stabilize the strength of the heaven class. In terms of value, it's much less than the small Qi Gathering Pill." "Oh, I'm not the peak of the late phase either. What do I need the small Qi Gathering Pill for?" Lin Yi said indifferently, "This 500-year-old lotus can be used when I advance into the heaven class in a few days." "In a few days?" Old Man Zhao took a deep breath. He didn't know if Lin Yi was bragging or if he really would advance into the heaven class soon. But after hearing what Lin Yi said, he was even more anxious. His heaven class strength wasn't very stable yet. After all, he used spiritual medicine to forcefully break through, so it wasn't as stable as those who broke through naturally. He needed to consolidate his strength, and this 500-year-old lotus was for that. "Yeah, I level up very quickly, don't you know?" Lin Yi asked. "Ah, of course I know." Old Man Zhao said, "But Mr. Lin is so talented, I don't think you need this thing. After all, this thing is only for stabilizing your strength, and Mr. Lin's strength is advancing at a tremendous pace. You don't need to stabilize it at all. Who knows, you might level up again before it's stabilized." "Oh, you're right." Lin Yi nodded. "Right, so, do you want to exchange it?" Old Man Zhao asked anxiously. "No." Lin Yi rejected without hesitation. Old Man Zhao was furious. "You don't want to exchange it even if it's useless?" However, although he was annoyed in his heart, he didn't dare to be careless on the surface. He could only hold back his anger and asked, "Why?" "Little Qi Gathering Pill is useless. Although it's precious, I can also refine it. The price of those materials isn't worth this 500-year-old lotus." Lin Yi shook his head and said, "This." Old Man, you thought that Lin Yi had cheated 2 cauldrons before. In that case, Lin Yi must be an alchemist. This little Qi Gathering Pill was a second-grade elixir. Maybe Lin Yi could really refine it himself. It was normal that he didn't like it. Thinking of this, Old Man, you said, "Then why are you willing to exchange?" 2 little Qi Gathering Pills. "If you can afford it, I'll reluctantly exchange." Lin Yi said faintly. "Do." Old man, you heard Lin Yi's words and sneered, "You're asking for too much." The materials needed for one little chi-gathering pill were indeed not worth the price of this 500-year-old lotus, but the materials needed for 2 little chi-gathering pills had already exceeded the value of this lotus. Moreover, even if you have 2 sets of materials, you may not be able to successfully refine 2 little chi-gathering pills. Do it or not. Lin Yi also sneered, "I'm the first, I make the decision. You have the right to exchange, I have the right not to exchange." "Yes, I'll exchange." Old man Zhao gave Old man Yu a look. Their hidden house Zhao still had 1 little chi-gathering pill. They wanted to give it to Zhao Qibing in the future, but at the moment this 500-year-old lotus was more important. So, Old man Zhao decided to exchange it first and buy it from the hidden house Yu in the future. "We'll exchange the goods at the same time," Lin Yi said. "Eh." Since Old man Zhao said to exchange, Old man Yu naturally wouldn't say anything more. At that time the hidden house Zhao would definitely compensate the hidden house Yu. Chapter 2090. Otherwise, Han Xiaopa wouldn't have been so serious when he asked for a chi-gathering pill. After exchanging for the 500-year thin lotus, Lin Yi turned to Elder Pai, "I'm interested in your body refinement potion. Out of all the things I have, that 500-year thin lotus is the most useless, and I wanted to exchange it with you, but I didn't think that Elder you would beat me to it, I'm sorry." "What?" Elder Zhao almost spat out blood after hearing Lin Yi's words. So Lin Yi didn't want the 500-year thin lotus? If he knew that Lin Yi wanted it from the hidden house Pai, he wouldn't have used 2 chi-gathering pills. House Pai's potion was precious, but it wasn't worth 2 chi-gathering pills, it was just 1. Unknowingly, Old man Zhao had paid double the price in exchange for the 500-year-old thin lotus flower. "I say, Elder Zhao, I'm trading with someone else, what are you doing? Even if you're the host of the Hidden House Summit, you can't just interfere with everything, can you?" Lin Yi said purposely. Elder Zhao was pissed, hating himself for being too hasty. "Out of all these things, this meridian opening pill isn't bad, I'll give it to your house Pai in exchange for the potion." Lin Yi looked at the treasures in his hand, and there was a meridian opening pill, which seemed to be from the hidden house Yu or the hidden house Tang. This thing was useless to Lin Yi. The meridian opening pill could repair 1/3 of the injured person's meridians, meaning that if the meridians were damaged within 1/3 of the body, it could be healed with the meridian opening pill. Otherwise it would be useless even if one ate 2. But for Lin Yi, even if all of his meridians were damaged, he could use the art of dragon mastery. This meridian opening pill was much more useless. Elder Pai was speechless. What did he need the meridian opening pill for? The hidden house Pai was a family that trained in physical martial arts. Even if their meridians were all destroyed, it wouldn't affect their training. This meridian opening pill was even more useless to them. However, the 3rd place couldn't be chosen, and the 1st place had to be changed. Therefore he gave the elixir to Lin Yi in exchange for a meridian unblocking pill. Old Master Pai thought that he could only bet on the next round. Lin Yi wanted this potion for Qintian. Qintian was a spiritual practitioner, and while Lin Yi could help with the spiritual aspect, Lin Yi couldn't help much with the spiritual aspect. This potion from the hidden house Pai was obviously good stuff, and House Wu wouldn't be able to get it. After the bets were distributed, the elders brought their children back to their rooms to rest and prepare for the next round of the competition. The time for the second match was set to be in the evening, which was after dinner. Therefore, the elders of the various families had to go back and give instructions. After all, the hidden Zhao family had failed miserably in the first match. The other aristocratic families also had to pay attention and be extremely cautious in the following matches to avoid any more accidents. Everyone had their own things to do, and Elder Zhao wasn't in a good mood. Naturally, he didn't host a banquet. Instead, he ordered the kitchen to prepare some exquisite dishes and sent them to the rooms of the hidden houses. "Haha boss, today was so satisfying." When Han Xiaopa returned to the guest room, he started shouting excitedly, "I saw that Zhao Qibing's car seemed to have been modified, and I was so worried that boss would lose. Who would have thought that Zhao Qibing would be so enraged by the heavens? Even the heavens are helping us, blowing out his tires, haha." Enraged by the heavens? Lin Yi smiled. His car went through a strict inspection before the race, how could it be that easy to get a flat tire? Han Xiaopa paused and a strange light flashed in his eyes. He seemed to have understood something. Could it be, Xiaopa, it's good to know some things? Han Qianba waved his hand to stop Han Xiaopa from continuing. Yes. Han Xiaopa nodded excitedly. He was more confident in Lin Yi's victory now. What's the next round? Lin Yi asked. I don't know yet. Han Qianba smiled helplessly. I'm afraid the other hidden families already know and have made preparations. As for us, the hidden Han family, we won't know until the very last moment of the competition. These people are all on guard against us, especially after Mr. Lin appeared. It doesn't matter. Lin Yi was just asking casually. Since there was no news, Lin Yi closed his eyes and started practicing after dinner. It was 7 at night, and a disciple of the hidden house Zhao rushed over. Is Elder Han here? Emissary, the competition is about to start, right? Elder Han asked as he walked out of the guest room. Yes, the second round is a hidden weapon dodging competition. Elder Han, please bring the participating family members to the meeting hall. The disciple of the Zhao family said. All right. Han Qianba responded and looked at Lin Yi. After all, the decision to participate in the hidden weapon dodging competition was not up to him, but to Lin Yi. Mr. Lin? Let's go. Lin Yi said calmly. Take any of the treasures we won earlier to bet. All right. Han Qianba wanted to say that these things belonged to Lin Yi, so he didn't have to worry about the bet. The Han family had already prepared it, but since Lin Yi said so, he let it go. The hidden house of Han could compensate Lin Yi in other ways anyway, so 1 or 2 treasures wouldn't make a difference. In fact, the things that Lin Yi won from the racing bets weren't very useful to him, so Lin Yi didn't mind using them to bet. On the way, Lin Yi asked, is there a winner for this hidden weapon dodging competition? Are there other families that specialize in this? That's right. Han Qianba nodded and explained. The ancestors of the hidden Tang family were a branch of the Tang sect. The Tang sect is proficient in hidden weapons and poisons, so the hidden Tang family is naturally very good at it. This hidden weapon dodging competition is 100% set up for the hidden Tang family, and they definitely have the confidence to win. Lin Yi nodded and didn't say anything else. Han Qianba, Han Xiaopa and Lin Yi went all the way to the meeting hall of the Zhao family. As expected, it was the same this time. Other than the 3 of them, the other hidden families' elders and children were all present, but they were the last ones. Chapter 2091. Of course, this hidden weapon isn't a real hidden weapon. After all, this is a trial for the descendants of each family. It's not a gamble of life and death. Therefore, we'll use metal balls as our hidden weapons. Everyone here is a fighter, so the metal balls won't harm your life. However, it will still hurt a lot. If you can't take it anymore, you can leave early. Hidden weapons are fired randomly by a specialized hidden weapon dodging machine. There's no pattern to it. The firing position of the metal balls is randomly generated by the computer. If someone is afraid of cheating, they can choose to regenerate or manually adjust the trajectory after the computer generates it. This is to prevent cheating. Every family head and sect leader has the right to choose to regenerate the trajectory. In order to prevent people from suspecting us of tampering with the training machine, just like the car race in the afternoon. Some people suspected that Qibing's car was modified. This time, we won't deliberately fix the position of each machine. Everyone can choose randomly and you can propose to exchange positions. This afternoon was an accident. Qibing's driving skills are not a problem. If he didn't crash, he would definitely get first place. Since there are people who doubt it, then you can choose your position. Old Zhao's words were completely targeted at Han Qianba. This hidden weapon dodging competition wasn't about taking advantage of loopholes. The descendants of the hidden Tang family studied hidden weapon shooting and dodging since they were young. Their skills were top-notch. They could win without cheating, so there was no need to cheat at all. An explanation is a cover-up. You're exposing yourself. Han Qianba snorted and said, since we can choose, then we'll choose first. Mr. Lin, you first. Since Elder Zhao had spoken up to this point, Lin Yi, naturally, could tell that the Zhao didn't want to play any tricks. He didn't really pick anything and walked into the firing range of one of the weapons training machines. He stood there. At this time, the other disciples also walked out and found their own seats. Next was to generate the trajectory and path of the hidden weapon. With old Zhao's order, the hidden weapon training machine started to work. To be honest, although Lin Yi had received relatively strict assassin training when he was young, and he had also been exposed to hidden weapons training, Lin Yi wasn't specialized in this. With so many iron balls, Lin Yi was confident in dodging most of them, but he wasn't sure if he could dodge all of them. Lin Yi frowned. Was he going to admit defeat this round? He turned his head to look at the representative of the hidden Tang family. When the representative saw Lin Yi, he smiled and nodded at him. Lin Yi was baffled by this Tang family contestant's smile. Lin Yi could tell that the smile wasn't one of mockery, nor was it one of provocation. It was a kind smile. But how could he hide the friendly smiles of the Tang family's disciples? Was that even possible? Lin Yi found it unbelievable. Frowning slightly, Lin Yi suddenly realized that this hidden Tang family disciple looked very familiar. Could it be that he had seen him before? Was it during the Ice Palace's trial? That didn't seem to be the case. Lin Yi remembered that when he registered his name and bet, this Tang family disciple was called Tang Yuyu. However, Lin Yi didn't know what Tang Yuyu's intentions were. However, as the hidden weapons training machine's alarm sounded, Lin Yi focused and stared at the hidden weapons dodging machine without blinking. Suddenly, the jade on Lin Yi's chest emitted a warning signal. Although it was very weak, Lin Yi was stunned. Right, the jade could warn me. How could I forget? Lin Yi subconsciously dodged to the side, and the jade's warning signal disappeared. With this discovery, Lin Yi was overjoyed. That was great. If he stood at the place where the hidden weapons were about to be fired, the jade would warn him. However, if he stood at a place where there was no danger, the jade wouldn't warn him. As he was thinking, the hidden weapons training machine started to fire metal balls, and Lin Yi's footsteps started to move. When it came to dodging, Lin Yi's movement was still very fast. Especially with the jade's warning, Lin Yi didn't even look at the direction of the metal balls. He completely closed his eyes and started to walk around the ground. Anyway, as long as the jade didn't warn him, Lin Yi would stand there. After another warning, he would run away. Repeating this cycle, Lin Yi successfully dodged all the metal balls. At this time, many of the participating disciples were hit by the metal balls. Although it wasn't very painful, the number on the electronic screen was increasing. Every time they were hit, the number would increase by 1. At the moment, the only ones who hadn't been hit by the projectiles were Lin Yi and Tang Yuyu. Boss, you can do it? Han Xiaopa clenched his fist and said in his heart. His eyes were filled with excitement. He didn't expect Lin Yi to be so good at dodging hidden weapons. The most amazing thing was that although Tang Yuyu was also dodging, there were a few close calls and he was almost hit by the metal balls. His forehead was already covered in cold sweat. Looking at Lin Yi, he had his eyes closed and was calm as if he didn't care at all. He seemed to be walking around the field randomly, but upon closer inspection, there was a pattern. Lin Yi seemed to be able to predict the future. Before the metal balls were fired, Lin Yi was already standing in a safe place. Every time he would always be able to kill the danger before it happened. In fact, Lin Yi was a little flustered at the beginning, just like a blind cat trying to catch a mouse. But after a long time he got used to it and found the pattern in which he dodged. The jade pendant's warning signal had a difference in strength. If he dodged slightly to the left or right, the warning signal would be different. If the left was stronger and the right was weaker, it meant that the more he dodged to the right, the less danger there was. Naturally, Lin Yi dodged to the right. After finding the pattern, Lin Yi became even more relaxed. It was as if he was taking a stroll. Every step he took was right through the gaps of the hidden weapons. Not a single metal ball could touch Lin Yi, not even the risk of brushing past him. Grandfather Tang, who was watching the match from the outside, was originally full of confidence. But when he saw Lin Yi's actions, his face suddenly turned gloomy. Even Tang Yuyu would find it hard to dodge all the hidden weapons training device. In today's competition, Tang Yuyu had already performed exceptionally well. Up until now, he hadn't been hit by a single metal ball. If this was any other time, he would have been hit by 1 or 2. But the results of 1 or 2 hits were still much better than the other participants. Chapter 2092. Translator. Nyoibo Studio Editor. Nyoibo Studio. Furthermore, there were already people who couldn't take it anymore and surrendered. They had already been hit 200 to 300 times, which meant that they were at the bottom of the competition. There was no need for them to continue taking the hits, so they might as well take the initiative to surrender. Although they were all contestants, getting hit by a few metal balls was fine, but getting hit too many times would still hurt. Not everyone from the Golden Clock Gate was not afraid of pain, so who would continue to endure? Bang! Just as Grandfather Tang was getting anxious, Tang Yuyu was finally hit by a metal ball. Grandfather Tang's heart instantly turned cold. On the other hand, Lin Yi was still so relaxed and calm, as if he wasn't dodging hidden weapons at all, but just taking a stroll. He still maintained a good score of 0. Ah, looks like boss is going to get first place again? Han Xiaopa saw that there wasn't much time left in the competition and said with a laugh. Of course, Mr. Lin is the boss of the hidden Han family. He will definitely help us. Han Qianba nodded without hiding anything. Whether it was Old Master Zhao or Old Master Yu, they all frowned. When did this Lin get involved with the Han family? How did he become the boss of the hidden Han family? This way, when dealing with the hidden Han family in the future, they would have to worry about Lin Yi. This news made everyone very unhappy, but in the end, everyone's gaze fell on the Qianshan Gate's leader. This gate leader was confident that he could get rid of Lin Yi, which meant that after the Hidden House Summit, Lin Yi would no longer exist. When that time came, it wouldn't be impossible to deal with the hidden Han family. Bang! Tang Yuyu hit another ball, causing Grandfather Tang's face to turn even uglier. Originally he was hoping that Lin Yi could also hit a ball so that the two of them could end in a draw and each of them could bet half the money. That wasn't too bad, but Tang Yuyu had already hit 2 balls, and Lin Yi still hadn't hit a single one. This made Grandfather Tang want to go crazy. Fuck. What was wrong with this Lin Yi? Could he be an all-rounder? Previously he was good at racing and now he's also good at dodging hidden weapons. It can't be so coincidental, right? Old Master Zhao was unperturbed. This round had nothing to do with his Zhao family. One of the 2 children who had given up after hitting the most balls was from the Zhao family. The Zhao family had never done such training before, so it was normal that they could not avoid it. Since they had already given up, it didn't matter who won or lost. With a sharp ring of the bell, the hidden weapon dodging competition ended. Lin Yi stopped. His score was still 0. Congratulations, boss. Han Xiaopa waited until the match was over before he dared to shout. Previously he was afraid that he would affect Lin Yi and distract Lin Yi, so even though he was excited, he did not dare to shout. Hehe, this thing is too simple. It's not challenging at all, Lin Yi said calmly. In the past, I used to use bullets to practice dodging. Lin Yi's words were not exaggerated. However, even though Lin Yi used bullets to practice dodging, it was not as fast as a metal ball. Otherwise, even if Lin Yi had the jade pendant, he would not be able to escape unscathed amidst the rain of bullets. Originally, Grandfather Tang was still unconvinced. However, after hearing Lin Yi's training method, he immediately became listless. Using bullets to practice dodging? Even the Tang family would not dare to do that. No wonder Lin Yi did not even hit a single ball. If it was a real bullet, 1 hit would be enough to kill him. Hidden Han family wins, score 0. In second place, Hidden Tang family, score 2. In third place, Qianshan sect, score 24. Old Master Zhao calmly announced the results of the competition. The difference between first and second place was not too big. However, the difference between third place was much bigger. The reason why Qianshan sect got third place was because the disciples of Qianshan sect often hung out with spirit beasts and trained their agility. Lin Yi kept the bet and glanced at the bets for second and third place. He sighed in his heart. Why did the things he needed always end up in the hands of second and third place? Hidden Tang family's bet was a poison prevention pearl. The pearl was white and transparent, but if it was placed in poisoned water or food, it would change color. The stronger the poison, the darker the color. Of course, this poison prevention pearl was only effective against normal poisons. If it was something special like the deadly 7 herbs poison Pinliang put in the school cafeteria, it would be ineffective. That was because the deadly 7 herbs poison was made up of 7 herbs. 1 herb was not poisonous, but when put together it would be poisonous. So, no matter how powerful the poison prevention pearl was, it would not be able to detect this type of poison. However, it was a good treasure to use against normal poisons. Lin Yi planned to get it for Miss and Shu. If they offended too many people, they would have a few life-saving treasures in their hands if someone wanted to harm them. The treasure that Qianshan sect took out was also a pearl, but it was registered as 100-year spirit beast essence Niden. Although Lin Yi didn't know what this essence Niden was for, Lin Yi already had one in his hand. Might be useful. Although this essence Niden was smaller than the one in Lin Yi's hand, Lin Yi still wanted it. Old Tang, do you have anything that you want to exchange? Lin Yi glanced at Old Tang. Although he didn't have a good impression of Old Tang, Lin Yi had a good impression of Tang Yuyu. He didn't know why, but it was just a feeling. That was why Lin Yi took the initiative to ask. Old Tang did have something that he wanted from Lin Yi's pile of things. According to their agreement, this competition was won by the Hidden House Tang. In fact, if it weren't for Lin Yi's appearance, no other house would be a match for Tang Yuyu. So, the blood centipede from the Hidden House Yu was very important to Old Tang. The blood centipede was very rare, and it was a good ingredient for making poisons. It was what the Hidden House Tang needed. However, old Tang was afraid that old Zhao would be tricked like in the car race, so he hesitated. Should he bring it up? However, in the end old Tang still brought it up. It was better to be safe than sorry. If Lin Yi gave up and didn't exchange the blood centipede for the treasure in his hand and the Qianshan sect's treasure, then it would be a great loss. Chapter 2093. Then I want that lifeless fruit. Qian Mountain Gate leader Wu pointed at one of the treasures in Lin Yi's pile. Okay. Lin Yi handed the fruit to Wu without hesitation. The lifeless fruit of Yantian wasn't meant for human consumption, and it couldn't be used to make medicine. It was meant for spirit beasts to eat. After the spirit beasts ate it, their strength would increase a little, so it wasn't very useful to Lin Yi. This little bit of energy wasn't enough for General Wei Wu and Skybolt Pig to break through to the Earth class. It would be a waste to eat it, and Lin Yi didn't need this bit of energy to help them break through. Thank you. Complex emotions flashed through his eyes, but he immediately made up his mind. The underworld was like this. The strong preyed on the weak, and there were many cases of people biting the hand that fed them. Whoever was more capable would have the final say. Since House Zhao, House Yu, and the Golden Clock sect had decided to give him 3 treasures, he still decided to kill Lin Yi. From his point of view, it was just a trade between him and Lin Yi. 1 for 1, he didn't owe Lin Yi anything. In fact, Lin Yi also had his eyes on the item in his hand. It didn't matter what he exchanged, he didn't have any intention of showing mercy. The bet was accepted and the exchange was over. All the elders and sect leaders went back to rest. Today's competition was over, and the rest of the competition would continue tomorrow morning. Boss, when sect leader Wu was exchanging the primordial essence inner core with you, his eyes were flickering. It seems like there's something wrong? Han Xiaopa's observation was also very detailed, and he noticed something amiss. I can see it. Lin Yi said, but who cares, I didn't lose anything. That lifeless fruit is useless to me. Boss, you don't want to raise spiritual beasts? Han Xiaopa was a little surprised. The lifeless fruit was a good thing. All families with spiritual beasts needed it, but Lin Yi exchanged it for a spiritual beast's inner Dan. It was a little confusing. Raising spirit beasts. Lin Yi nodded and said, I have 2 spirit beasts at home. Then you don't need the lifeless manifestation fruit to help them increase their strength? Han Xiaopa asked curiously. Yi, what do you think? Lin Yi looked at Han Xiaopa with a faint smile. Han Xiaopa suddenly remembered how he had risen from Golden Class mid-phase to Earth Class late-phase peak. So that's how it is, I understand now. He exclaimed. Han Qianba didn't understand the riddle between Lin Yi and Han Xiaopa, but he was old and experienced. If Lin Yi didn't want to explain, he wouldn't ask. In any case, he was happy enough. He had won 2 matches in a row on the first day of the tournament. These hidden families and sects still wanted to take advantage of his hidden Han family? Hee going for wool and coming home shorn, right? By the way, do you know what this Vitality Inner Elixir is used for? Lin Yi asked. Boss, you don't know? Han Xiaopa was taken aback. He had seen Lin Yi exchange the Vitality Inner Elixir and thought that Lin Yi knew what it was used for. I don't know, I'm just curious. Lin Yi didn't tell him that he had another Vitality Inner Elixir that looked even bigger than this one. Tell me, what can this thing be used for? Man, I don't know either. Han Xiaopa smiled bitterly and said, but I heard that when making some high-level elixirs, adding the Vitality Inner Elixir can increase the success rate, or is it necessary? It seems like blacksmiths can use it too. I don't know the specifics, I don't have any information on this. I see. Lin Yi nodded. He planned to go back and read Zhang Liju's notes when he had time. There were many elixir recipes in there. Lin Yi hadn't even learned how to concoct elixirs before, so naturally he had no interest in studying those recipes. But when he had time, he would take a look and see if the Vitality Inner Elixir could be used for concocting elixirs. Lin Yi, Han Tianba, and Han Xiaopa went back to rest. However, the elders of the hidden houses and the masters of the sects had returned and were now sitting in the hidden house Zhao's meeting hall. Everyone, let's talk. Are we just going to forget about what happened today? The one who was the most dissatisfied was Elder Zhao. As the organizer, he didn't get any benefits. In exchange for a 500-year thin lotus flower, he was tricked by Lin Yi. What else can we do? Send a thief to steal those things back? Elder Tang was troubled as well. He was a loser today as well, but he didn't lose as badly as House Zhao. Anyway, Lin Yi is going to die sooner or later. It's just a matter of a few days. Elder Yu said faintly, right, Headmaster Wa? That's right. Headmaster Wa nodded, I don't have much of a relationship with that Lin Yi. Today it's just a fair trade. Don't worry, I will do what I say. Doormaster was promise made old Zhao and old Tang feel much better. If Lin Yi were to die, they would be able to vent their anger. Let's not talk about these things in the past. What I'm worried about now is the remaining matches. The one who spoke was Elder Pai. Lin Yi had won 2 matches in a row, and he couldn't sit still anymore. Chapter 2094. From the looks of it, it's only Han Xiaopa. According to the investigation, Han Xiaopa is only a master in the middle phase of the golden class. Such a weakling, no matter if it's a shotgun or a cannon, as long as he gets on the stage, we will win the match. You're confident, but we're not. The old man from House Pai frowned. I heard that Lin Yi killed 3 Earth-class masters with 1 move. That technique must be very powerful. In tomorrow's match, I'm afraid that we, the hidden House Pai, are not Lin Yi's opponents. That's not true. The old man from the hidden house, you said. As far as I know, Lin Yi practices fire element martial arts. Although it's powerful, it's used against enemies. Our match is to hit a boulder, and whoever can break the boulder into pieces with 1 move will win. Although the fire element martial arts can burn people to death, it can't burn rocks. High temperature is useless against rocks. Even if you use internal force, you can only break it into 2 or 3 pieces. But your House Pai specializes in external martial arts. Not to mention that you have no connection with the ancient sect Holy Fist Palace. When the time comes, you can break the boulder into several small pieces with 1 punch. Who can avoid you? The Holy Fist Palace was an ancient sect that practiced external martial arts. They were famous for the power of their fists. With 1 punch they could split mountains and seas. That was why they were called the Holy Fist Palace. An old ancestor of the hidden House Pai once served as the great elder of the Holy Fist Palace. Although he disappeared later, the hidden House Pai and the Holy Fist Palace still had some connection. Of course, if the great elder was still there, the hidden House Pai would not be so weak. It would have become an aristocratic family that was on par with House Yu and House Yu. But even so, House Pai's Kung Fu had more or less received some favors from the Holy Fist Palace. They had very high attainments in Kung Fu, especially in martial arts, which was obtained directly from the Holy Fist Palace. It was extremely overbearing. Yes, even I can't block a blow from the heaven-class masters of the Holy Fist Palace. This is a martial arts competition. What does House Pai have to worry about? The master of the Golden Bell sect, Jin Gang, said. That makes sense. Old man Pai nodded, feeling much more at ease. The main thing was that today's incident had left a huge psychological shadow in his heart, making him feel a little uneasy. Alright, there's no need for us to worry about nothing. Old Yu added, when the time comes, we'll add a rule to the single and double arenas forbidding the use of martial arts. Without martial arts, we'll see how that Lin Yi is going to win. Exactly. Master Zhuang agreed at once. The single elimination matches were House Yu's cup of tea, and the double elimination matches were House Zhuang's cup of tea. If Lin Yi couldn't use his martial arts, then their chances of winning would be much higher. Lin Yi could not use his martial arts, but he was not worried that his disciples would be injured. Since it was settled, these elders and sect masters went back to rest in peace, preparing for the next day's competition. The next morning, House Zhao's disciple delivered the same exquisite dishes. Lin Yi, Han Tianba, and Han Xiaopa finished their breakfast and waited quietly for the notification. As expected, at 9 in the morning, the disciple from yesterday ran over. Is old Master Han here? Today's competition is about to begin. Please bring your disciples to the meeting room to register and place your bets. Alright. Han Tianba and Lin Yi were already prepared, so they followed the disciple to the meeting room. They were already used to being the last to arrive at the meeting room. Lin Yi could always win with these people's conspiracies anyways, so there was no need to worry about them. The third match, the first match of the day, is a battle of martial arts. Grandpa Zhao waited for Han Tianba to register, place his bet, and take his seat. Then he began to introduce the rules of the competition. The so-called martial arts competition is a competition in which each contestant uses a martial arts skill. The target of the martial arts skill is a hard boulder. The contestant who breaks the boulder into smaller pieces wins the competition. Of course, only fist-sized pieces are counted, not the residue. Does anyone have any objections? After all, even if a large rock was broken into 2, there might be a certain number of small fragments. If those small fragments were counted one by one, it would be impossible to count them all. So, Naturally, the technical standard was to use the size of a fist and above as a stone. What kind of rule is this? What if someone punches the boulder into smithereens, and most of the fragments are smaller than a fist? According to what you're saying, it's still considered a loss? Han Xiaopa listened carefully to the rules and immediately found a loophole in it. Actually, it wasn't that the others couldn't find the loopholes, it was just that they didn't think too much about it. After all, the winner of this round was the hidden house pie, so no matter what, the hidden house pie would win. But when Han Xiaopa brought it up, Elder Zhao was speechless. Yeah, if that was the case, then wouldn't there be a problem with the rules? That's easy. What Elder Zhao said is the first rule. If what Han Xiaopa said really happens, then everyone will take out the biggest rock from their pile. Whoever has the smallest rock will be the winner. Old Man Pai thought that after Han Xiaopa heard the rules, he felt that his chances of winning were not high, so he added a rule calmly. That doesn't mean that the person with the smallest piece will have the most pieces. Han Xiaopa said. Then what do you say? Elder Pai frowned impatiently. It seemed like he needed to be stricter with the rules in the future. At the very least, he couldn't let Han Xiaopa find any loopholes. As for how he reacted afterwards, it didn't count. It's fine, Xiaopa, this is the rule. Lin Yi shook his head, stopping Han Xiaopa from asking any more questions. To Lin Yi, this rule wasn't a problem anymore. Contestants have no problems, non-contestants, please don't cause trouble. Elder Pai relaxed a little upon hearing Lin Yi's voice. He thought that Lin Yi didn't have the confidence to win no matter what, and so he didn't want Han Xiaopa to keep messing around, wanting to end the match as soon as possible. Alright, since everyone has no problems, then let's go to the training field behind the meeting hall and get ready for the competition, Elder Zhao said. Chapter 2095. Alright, this is the battleground. Everyone gets a boulder, choose whatever you like. Elder Zhao said, everyone can only use one martial skill regardless of the rank. But remember, you can only use one skill. If you try to use a second skill, you'll be disqualified. Han Xiaopa had seen Lin Yi use Wood Forest 1000 transformations before. The third style could be used as 3 punches, and if all 3 punches landed on the boulder, the damage would be much worse than the others, right? So Han Xiaopa was very confident. Boss, you can do it? Han Xiaopa cheered Lin Yi on. Ha. Lin Yi smiled faintly as he walked over to a random boulder. The boulder was about the height of a person and 3 meters wide. But when Lin Yi got close, he didn't rush to use his martial skill. The time limit was 1 skill, so Lin Yi wasn't in a rush. He wanted to see how the others were doing and then choose his own martial skill. Lin Yi didn't move, but the disciples of the other hidden houses and sects had already started channeling their arts, preparing to use their skills. Lin Yi turned around and looked at the elders and sect masters. His eyes swept across their faces and he could see some clues. Out of all the elders and sect masters, the hidden house Pai's Elder Pai was the calmest and most excited. While the others were looking on anxiously, Lin Yi could tell that the hidden house Pai was the winner of this competition. As for the other houses and sects, they were fighting for the second and third place. Second and third place didn't matter to Lin Yi, and he turned his attention to the hidden house Pai's contestant. What Lin Yi didn't expect was that the hidden house Pai contestant also turned to look at Lin Yi. Lin Yi saw shock, confusion, and deep hatred in his eyes. This hidden house Pai's disciple was Pai Zhihai. He'd met him once in the Ice Palace's trial, the Earth class that got kicked out by Elder Li at the start of the trial. Back in the Ice Palace, Lin Yi used the alias Ling Yi, and he had some bad blood with the Pai brothers. When Pai Zhishan and Pai Zhihai were disqualified for the trial because they hid their strength, Lin Yi only smiled, and the Pai brothers vented their anger on Lin Yi. But Lin Yi wasn't afraid of them. There was no need to hide Ling Yi's identity anymore, and Lin Yi's identity had a deep grudge with the hidden house Pai. All the hidden house Pai masters were either crippled by Lin Yi, or killed by Lin Yi's lackeys. So, seeing the surprised look from Pai Zhihai, Lin Yi grinned and turned away, ignoring him. Pai Zhihai didn't participate in the Ice Palace trial, so naturally he didn't know what happened. The hidden house's heirs were ordered to keep their mouths shut, so Pai Zhihai didn't know what happened after that, and no news reached the hidden house Pai. And so, Pai Zhihai didn't think that Lin Yi was very strong. He was just puzzled. Didn't Lin Yi get crippled by Zhang Naipeo from the Everyday and Everyday sect? Why did it look like he had recovered? Plus, Lin Yi was an enemy of the hidden house Pai. Pai Zhihai's hatred turned into strength, and he was going to use it in this battle. He heard that Lin Yi had won twice already, so he couldn't let Lin Yi win again. Pai Jihai took a deep breath, waved his hands and mobilized the spiritual energy around him, ready to activate the external martial technique, Heaven and Earth Fist. The Heaven and Earth Divine Fist was a high-level martial arts technique of the Holy Fist Palace. Those who cultivated it to the profound realm would have the power to split mountains and seas with one punch. Although Pai Jihai had only learned the first 3 moves, he could still exert a strong power. He relied on the powerful boxing skills of external martial arts, so in this martial arts competition he was confident that no one could be his opponent. Boom! Pai Jihai punched out and the boulder in front of him instantly shattered into pieces. With his fist as the center, the boulder exploded in all directions, and the huge boulder instantly became many smaller pieces. Pai Jihai looked at the situation around him and smiled in satisfaction at his work. Although many of the disciples from the hidden families had powerful martial techniques, they were only powerful when fighting against the enemy. For a big rock, many of them were helpless. The weakest disciple from the hidden families could only smash the big rock into 2 pieces. Pai Jihai, on the other hand, smashed the big rock into at least 70 or 80 small pieces. Including the small pieces, there were more than 100 pieces. Obviously, he didn't think he was the winner. After doing all this, Pai Jihai looked at Lin Yi again, but Lin Yi did not make a move, but looked at him with a faint smile. Lin Yi's action made Pai Jihai a little confused. Why was this guy not activating his martial technique but looking at him here? Pai Jihai frowned and suddenly saw Lin Yi smile at him strangely, then turned his head and stopped looking at him. Lin Yi's action made Pai Jihai more and more confused, and also a little uneasy. Lin Yi saw that he had smashed the rock into so many pieces, and not only was he not worried but he was also smiling? Could it be that this guy had some kind of powerful trump card? Lin Yi didn't have any powerful trump cards, and Lin Yi was just hesitating whether to use Frenzy Fist or 1,000 Changes of the Forest. But now it seemed that neither of them would work. Pai Jihai's punch was really something. Lin Yi's Frenzy Fist and 1,000 Changes of the Forest were powerful, but it couldn't guarantee a 100% win. After all, Pai Jihai's martial technique was also very good, not weaker than his. Plus, external martial techniques had a certain advantage. So if Lin Yi wanted to win, he couldn't use martial techniques. Thinking of this, Lin Yi began to compress chi. What Lin Yi didn't expect was that in these 3 matches, 2 of them would need chi bombs to win. However, Lin Yi was getting more and more familiar with the chi bomb, and he didn't have the nervousness and fear from before. As long as he controlled it well and didn't condense the super bomb that gathered all the chi in his body, it wouldn't be dangerous for Lin Yi. Unless he met an enemy that he couldn't fight against, there was no point in Lin Yi using the super bomb. Although this rock was big in Lin Yi's opinion, it was only 1/10 of the chi in his body, and it was enough to smash it into pieces. Chapter 2096. What was Lin Yi thinking? Why hadn't he used his skills yet? Did he want to give up or was he preparing a more powerful skill? Other than Lin Yi, everyone else had completed their skills and were waiting for the Zhao family's disciples to tally up their scores. Lin Yi, on the other hand, was still standing there. Even Han Qianba and Han Xiaopa were puzzled by this strange situation. What was Lin Yi doing? In fact, Han Qianba and Han Xiaopa had seen Lin Yi's phantom 1,000 changes when they were in the hidden Han family. They thought that Lin Yi would definitely win. However, when they saw Pai Jihai's skills, their confidence was shaken. Lin Yi's phantom 1,000 changes was powerful, but Pai Jihai's skills were not weak either. That was why Han Qianba and Han Xiaopa were worried. Lin Yi's performance was not looking good. In fact, Han Qianba and Han Xiaopa had thought that Lin Yi winning the car race would be good enough. This was because the hidden Han family had invited Lin Yi for this race. However, after Lin Yi won the hidden weapon dodging competition yesterday, Han Qianba and Han Xiaopa were looking forward to Lin Yi's consecutive victories. That way the hidden Han family's status would also rise. Although the hidden Han family had invited external help, this external help was not an outsider. It was the hidden Han family's boss, Lin Yi. Xiaopa, with Mr. Lin's skills, he might not be able to win, but he should be able to get second place. Han Qianba was optimistic. Although he couldn't get first place, getting second place was already a great honor. Although he couldn't win the bet, he wouldn't lose it either. It was a great honor. Yes. Han Xiaopa nodded. He was a little depressed. Lin, are you going to use your skills or not? Pai Jishan and Pai Jihai were very close. So, when Pai Jihai came to participate, Pai Jishan naturally came to support him. Pai Jihai recognized Lin Yi. He naturally recognized Lin Yi as well. At this time, with the hatred he had formed in the Ice Palace trial, he was even more displeased with Lin Yi. So he asked sarcastically, "Is there a time limit in the competition rules? Who do you think you are? Do you think you're Lord Zhao?" Lin Yi looked at Pai Zhishan coldly, then said to Grandpa Zhao, "Grandpa Zhao, someone is pretending to be you?" "Pretending to be me?" Grandpa Zhao was stunned. He took a while to understand what Lin Yi meant by pretending to be you. Lin Yi meant that Pai Zhishan was pretending to be him. This made Grandpa Zhao furious. Pai Zhishan didn't mean it that way, but what he said was a little too much. Old Zhao had no place to vent his anger. He could only say coldly, "Pai Zhishan, there are no rules in this competition. Don't talk nonsense." However, "Lin Yi, everyone is waiting for you. Shouldn't you hurry up as well?" "Haha, alright, I'll give you some face then." Lin Yi said faintly, "At first I thought that you guys were quite pitiful after not winning a single race, so I wanted to forfeit. But old Zhao, it seems like you still want me to win. Alright, as you wish." As soon as Lin Yi finished his sentence, he pretended to circulate the qi in the air. He suddenly clasped his hands together and pushed them out. Vacuum wave punch? This vacuum wave punch wasn't a secret to these hidden houses. Lin Yi had used this move when he fought against House Yu, so no one suspected that Lin Yi wasn't using a martial arts technique, but his unique energy bomb. Lin Yi did this to hide his trump card, and to make it so that no one would be able to see through it. They wouldn't be able to link Zhao Qibing's flat tire incident to him. After all, it was impossible to divert one's attention to activate one's martial arts skills when driving a racing car, especially when going around a bend. Doing so would be suicidal. Boom dash, a loud explosion sounded. The boulder in front of Lin Yi was blasted apart by Lin Yi's powerful martial arts technique, turning it into small pieces that were smaller than pebbles. Lin Yi had purposely suppressed the power of the energy bomb. If he'd compressed it a bit more, the boulder would have been blown to smithereens, but that would have been too shocking, so Lin Yi didn't do that. However, when Lin Yi activated his practitioner's arts, his strength was instantly exposed. In the previous two races, Lin Yi didn't use pure qi, so these old masters and sect masters didn't know Lin Yi's strength. But at this moment they could clearly feel Lin Yi's Earth-class early phase strength. This was the result of Lin Yi suppressing it on purpose. In fact, Lin Yi wanted to suppress it lower to confuse them, but Mystic class couldn't use martial arts, and suppressing it to Mystic class would make people suspect that he wasn't using martial arts. So, Lin Yi could only suppress it from the peak of early phase to early phase. Earth-class early phase? Old Zhao looked at Lin Yi in disbelief. Lin Yi was Earth-class early phase? How was this possible? The others, such as House Yu's old man and House Yu's old man, were also confused. Lin Yi was an Earth-class early phase. How did he kill 3 Earth-class masters in one hit? Even if the martial arts technique Lin Yi used was powerful, it wasn't enough to kill 3 Earth-class masters in one hit. Could it be that there was more to it? Was Lin Yi suppressing his strength, or was his other martial arts stronger? "I'm sorry, I didn't think that I would still win after trying so hard to control myself, using my weakest martial arts technique and my weakest strength." Lin Yi shook his head and mumbled to himself, "This victory was too easy. But I had no choice, the old man wanted me to fight, so I couldn't just forfeit, so I gave him some face." Pai Zhishan's eyes were full of hatred. Without a doubt, he knew that Lin Yi had won when he saw the pile of rocks. He really wanted to curse at Lin Yi for acting tough and trying to sow discord between House Zhao and House Pai. This Lin Yi actually said that he wanted to forfeit, but old Zhao forced him to. Wasn't this saying that House Pai should have won, but lost because of old Zhao's words? However, Pai Zhishan wasn't an idiot, and naturally wouldn't fall for this provocation. He just humphed and ignored it. "Oh right, you can't blame old Zhao, I misunderstood him." Lin Yi smiled, "I forgot that you were the one who urged me first. If you didn't, I might have forfeited." Chapter 2097. Lin Yi, you'll give up? Stop bullsh**. Pai Zhishan heard Lin Yi's words and was furious. "Do you think I'll believe you? Believe it or not." Lin Yi said faintly, "Sai, I won't give up today. But in the following matches I might get tired of winning and be ready to give up. Don't rush me." "Give up? Who do you think you're bluffing? If you can give up, I'll give you my head." Pai Zhishan was so mad at Lin Yi that he lost his mind. "What do I need your head for? How about we make a bet? If I give up, you'll give me another bottle of that external body tempering potion. How's that?" Lin Yi asked. This, Pai Jishan said it out of anger, but if it was a bet, he was a little scared. You can't decide, right? If you don't want to bet, then forget it. Linny said faintly. Bet with him. Isn't it just a bottle of potion? If I lose, I'll compensate you with pills. Right Coiling Tiger hated Linny the most out of all of them, for no other reason than the fact that Linny had just ruined 2 of his cauldrons. So naturally he hoped that Linny would give up this match. Plus, from Right Coiling Tiger's perspective, Linny was just being polite. He was going against Pai Jishan. From Lin Yi's if you don't want to bet, then forget it, it seemed that Linny didn't want to give up the match either. If he gave up the match, it meant that he had to lose a treasure. Exchanging it for a bottle of body-tempering potion, it didn't seem like a good deal. So that was why Right Coiling Tiger was so scared of Pai Jishan and Lin Yi. Right Coiling Tiger came to watch the match today, but he didn't have the chance to speak, so he didn't reveal himself. Okay, then I'll bet with you. If you give up, I'll give you a bottle of body-enhancing potion. Pai Jishan nodded. Old Yu looked at Yupan, who's speaking from the side. His lungs were almost bursting with anger. Was there something wrong with this Right Coiling Tiger? Make Lin Yi forfeit the competition? If Lin Yi directly gave up in the last round of the spiritual beast trials, then wouldn't the plan be in vain? However, this plan was formulated by a few family elders and sect leaders. Coiling Tiger of the Right naturally didn't know about it, and it was impossible for Coiling Tiger of the Right to reveal it in advance. Therefore he was extremely angry at Coiling Tiger of the Right for being too talkative. Alright, old Zhao, can you announce the results of the match? I'm so tired. Lin Yi and Pai Jishan finished their bet, and turned to Elder Zhao. In this round, the Hidden Han clan wins. In second place is the Hidden Pai clan, and in third place is the Golden Bell sect. Old Zhao then announced the results of the duel. The Hidden Han clan shall collect their bets, the Hidden Pai clan and the Golden Bell sect shall withdraw their bets. Lin Yi looked at the Hidden Pai clan's bets. It was the Meridian opening pill that Lin Yi gave him. Lin Yi wasn't interested in it, so he refused to exchange anything with him. Pai Jishan looked coldly at Lin Yi, then took the Meridian opening pill and left with Pai Jihai and Elder Pai. They didn't say anything else. The Hidden Clan Pai had good luck, coming in third in the first round of the competition. They didn't suffer any losses, nor did they win anything. As for the third-place Golden Bell sect, Lin Yi wasn't surprised. It looked like external martial artists had an advantage in terms of power, but it was limited to a head-on clash. On the other hand, internal martial arts tended to be more skillful. For example, the Frenzy Fist. Although the pure strength of the fist was slightly weaker, with the support of the fire element, it could still cause unimaginable damage to the enemy. The treasure that the Golden Bell sect brought out for exchange was a set of low-grade golden cicada underwear. According to the treasure's description, this low-grade golden cicada underwear could defend against attacks from experts below the Earth class. In other words, as long as one's strength hadn't reached the Earth class, any mystic class would be helpless against this set of underwear. However, this treasure was only a low-grade golden cicada underwear. It wasn't like the mid-grade and high-grade golden cicada underwear that could resist fire and fire. This low-grade golden cicada underwear was still very vulnerable to fire and water. This item was a treasure. To put it bluntly, it was actually a trade between the Golden Bell sect and House Pai. Both houses were experts in external martial arts, but one could be said to be an attacker and the other a defender. House Pai's defense was slightly weaker, while the Golden Bell sect's offense was slightly weaker. If the two could complement each other, it would be a good idea. This low-grade golden cicada underwear was very important to the Golden Bell sect. It was better to lose to the Hidden House Pai in this competition. Of course, even if they didn't lose, they could still trade it to the Hidden House Pai. Who would have thought that the Hidden House Pai would lose? Of course, the Hidden House Pai didn't want to trade with the Golden Bell sect in front of Lin Yi. If that happened, Lin Yi would probably stop them and forcefully take advantage of the trade to get the golden cicada underwear from the hands of the Golden Bell sect. Therefore, the Hidden House Pai pretended to not care and left first. In fact, they were hinting to the Golden Bell sect to quickly take their treasure and leave. They could trade in private. Unfortunately, this item caught Lin Yi's eye. An attack from someone below Earth class? That's right. Even if he couldn't use it himself, the people around him could still use it if they were doing something dangerous. And so, Lin Yi casually found a small rejuvenation pill from his pile of items. This pill was the bet that the Hidden House Pai handed over. It could quickly heal an injured person, but it couldn't heal an injured person's meridians. It could only heal injuries other than the meridians. Of course, this so-called small rejuvenation pill was naturally less effective. It was useless for major injuries and could only heal injuries that weren't fatal. This item was also a foundation for Lin Yi. Lin Yi's art of dragon mastery could heal anyone regardless of whether their meridians were injured or not. Therefore, this small rejuvenation pill was useless. Lin Yi directly threw it to Jean Gang and said, "Exchange it for your golden cicada underwear." Jean Gang was speechless. "What the fuck, aren't you tricking me? We're the Golden Bell sect and we train to be untouchable. What's the use of giving me a small rejuvenation pill? Who can injure us? If they can injure us, then our injuries can't be healed by a small rejuvenation pill. We'll either be crippled or dead." Moreover, this golden cicada underwear was meant for the hidden house pie. If it was exchanged by Lin Yi, how would he explain it to the hidden house pie? Therefore, Vajra Diamond looked at old Zhao helplessly, wanting him to say a few words. Chapter 2098. It's not that I don't want to change, it's just that this low-tier golden cicada underwear is useless to you. Jean Gang sighed after seeing that Elder Zhao didn't say anything. He knew that Elder Zhao couldn't just change the rules in public. If the rules were changed, how would the matches go on in the future? If that happened, Lin Yi would just leave. Lin Yi had won quite a lot of things these past 2 days, and if he couldn't kill Lin Yi, it wouldn't be worth it. Why do you care if it's useless to me? Can't I let my wife wear it? Lin Yi frowned impatiently. But this thing is worn by a man and it's an underwear set. You don't want your wife to wear another man's underwear, do you? Jean Gang explained. I don't know how to wash it. Don't you know what a washing machine is for? Lin Yi glared at him. Are you going to change or not? I'll change. Jean Gang helplessly passed the low-tier golden cicada underwear to Lin Yi. House Pie, oh House Pie, you guys lost the match, don't blame me. After taking the golden cicada underwear set and the treasures he won, Lin Yi didn't stay for long. He went back to rest with Han Tianba and Han Xiaopa, leaving the elders and sect masters looking at Lin Yi with envy and jealousy. Once Lin Yi was far away, Elder Zhao sighed and turned to the others. This Lin Yi, he used pure chi just now. If I'm not wrong, he should be in Earth class early phase, right? That's right, early phase. The hidden elder of House Yu nodded. But this Lin Yi is only in Earth class early phase? Impossible. How could an early phase Earth class kill 3 Earth class masters in one hit? Old Yu shook his head. That's true. Plus, Lin Yi also said that he was suppressing his strength. Elder Tang said. Lin Yi was already in Earth class early phase a long time ago, and that kid's leveling up really fast. He was only Mystic mid-phase peak back in the Ice Palace. If you're talking about half a year ago, that Lin Yi was still at the early phase of the Mystic class. He fought with my little Zhu and both of them were heavily injured. How could he compare? Old Zhao frowned. This Lin Yi has been in Earth class early phase for a long time now. It's impossible that he hasn't broken through yet. Is this kid trying to mislead us? It's hard to say. This Lin Yi's usual trick is to pretend to be a pig to eat a tiger. He purposely pretends that he doesn't have any strength, and then when the enemy comes knocking on his door, he starts to act tough. Diamond said hatefully. Lin Yi's follower could kill my disciple. How bad can this Lin Yi be? That's true. Everyone nodded. Evidently, they understood Lin Yi's trick very well. This Lin Yi was purposely acting weak, and then when everyone came at him, he'd give them a powerful blow. This time, no one wanted to be an idiot. Whoever went up to him would really have their brains pierced. It had been a few times already and they'd fallen for the same trick twice already. It wouldn't be a third time. When it came to the position of elders and sect masters, no one was stupid anymore. Forget it, let's not care if Lin Yi is trying to mislead us or not. Let's prepare for the next match. We can't let Lin Yi win again. If we let Lin Yi win again, it'd be too embarrassing. Although Elder Zhao lost the first match, after the second and third matches, he wasn't that disappointed anymore. After all, there were people accompanying him. However, no matter what, he still didn't want Lin Yi to win again. Otherwise, this conspiracy against the hidden house Han would become the biggest joke in the world. Everyone nodded and didn't say anything else. They left the training field with a heavy expression and went back to prepare for the next match. At this moment, the happiest place in the entire hidden house Zhao was the hidden house Han's place. 3 consecutive wins. This result was probably the most dazzling result in the history of the Hidden Noble Houses Summit. In the previous competitions, even if there wasn't any cheating, powerful noble houses like House Yu and House Yu wouldn't be able to win 3 consecutive matches. Boss, you're too awesome. This time our hidden house Han is too amazing. Han Xiaopa said proudly. Xiaopa, don't be too proud. This is just the beginning. Wait until Mr. Lin wins all the other matches. That'll be amazing. Han Qianba said, it's not too late for us to celebrate then. Han Qianba looked at Lin Yi's calm face and was even happier. Lin Yi didn't refute him, which meant that Lin Yi had the confidence to continue winning. At noon, after eating a delicious meal prepared by the hidden house Zhao and resting for a while, the disciple from the hidden house Zhao came to visit again. Is the old master of the hidden house Han here? The second match of the day, the solo endurance competition, is about to begin. Old Master Han, please bring your disciples and bets to the meeting hall to register and pay. Han Qianba, Lin Yi, and the others were already familiar with the rules. They took a random treasure and followed the disciple to the meeting hall. In the hidden house Zhao's meeting hall, old Master Zhao saw that Han Qianba, Han Xiaopa, and Lin Yi had arrived. He nodded to them and said numbly, the second match of the day is the solo endurance competition. The solo endurance competition is a small formation provided by the ancient sect. Me, Old Master Yu, Old Master Tang, Old Master Yu, and a few other sky-class masters will use their Jin Qi to activate the formation. Our Jin Qi will be gathered in the formation to form pressure on you. As for the contestants, they will enter the formation and use their own true Qi to fight against the true Qi that we have jointly activated. The one who can resist longer will be the winner. Of course, if you can't take it anymore, you will have to exit the formation. Otherwise, you might get hurt or even die. The Zhen Qi of a sky-class master is not to be trifled with. This is a test of endurance. If there are no objections, let's get ready to start. Alright, no problem. And Mingyue smiled and said lightly. The others also said that there were no problems and they could start. Lin Yi looked at Mingyue with surprise. This guy had been quiet all this time. Lin Yi thought that he was just a supporting character. Because the Firewolf gang didn't show any signs of winning, and they didn't even get second or third place, Lin Yi had forgotten about this guy. Chapter 2099. However, although Lin Yi was puzzled, he still followed the others to the trial field behind the meeting hall. There was a formation set up in advance. On the trial field, there were some unknown stones and metals, which were probably used to set up the formation. Lin Yi had never seen these things before. It seemed that they were really good stuff borrowed from the ancient sections. The contestants entered the formation one by one. What caught Lin Yi's attention was that the contestant on Mingyue's side was actually a person with a dull and lifeless gaze. This person's lifeless gaze made Lin Yi's heart tremble slightly. He felt that it was a familiar feeling. He seemed to have seen it somewhere before, but he couldn't recall it at the moment. Watching that person enter the formation in a daze, randomly find a place and sit down cross-legged. He didn't communicate with anyone else. Lin Yi could only withdraw his gaze. The competition was about to start. Naturally, Lin Yi didn't have time to be nosy. However, the contestant from the Firewolf gang made Lin Yi feel uncomfortable. Get ready to start. When the horn sounds, we will activate our true Qi and activate the formation. Contestants, be careful. Old Master Zhao said. Sure enough, along with the sound of a bugle horn, the array formation was activated, and the participating disciples in the array formation suddenly felt a huge pressure, and a powerful Zhen Qi pressed down on them, making them feel a kind of pressure that they couldn't pass through. Everyone didn't dare to be negligent. They quickly activated their inner force to resist it. This kind of true Qi was the true Qi of a heaven stage master. It was different from the spiritual Qi of heaven and earth. It couldn't be cultivated or absorbed. They could only use their own true Qi to resist it. Therefore, it was a very difficult thing to do. This was like two masters competing with their true Qi. There was no way to cheat at all. It was a direct confrontation. If one wasn't careful, they could be injured. Lin Yi frowned. He also activated the art of dragon mastery to resist it. The inner force mental cultivation method was activated, and the oppressive feeling from before disappeared in a flash. It seemed that the heaven stage experts who activated the formation had grasped it very accurately, allowing the participating earth stage experts to just resist. If they were a little stronger, they would not be able to resist, and a little weaker. He didn't know how long the competition would last, but this moment was just right. It all depended on who could last longer. Lin Yi did not care about this kind of pressure. He could resist this kind of pressure for 100 years. He directly closed his eyes and entered the space of the jade pendant. A steady stream of energy replenished Lin Yi's consumption. In other words, Lin Yi actually did not consume any of his own Jin Qi. He was completely relying on the energy within the space within the jade pendant to fight against it. She looked at Lin Yi, whose expression did not change at all, like a meditating old monk. Old Master Zhao's expression was a little ugly. Although the other participating disciples didn't have any uncomfortable expressions, wasn't Lin Yi too calm and composed? If this continued, Lin Yi would probably get good results again. This Lin Yi seems to be fine. Do you need us to increase the strength of the Zhen Qi and increase the pressure? Old Master Zhao sighed and asked. That's not good, there are other disciples here. If we increase the pressure, others might not be able to take it. Old Master Yu shook his head and rejected the suggestion. After all, Lin Yi was fine in the beginning. It didn't mean that he would be fine. Okay, then let's wait and see. Old Master Zhao nodded and continued to inject Zhen Qi into the formation. After about the time it took to drink a cup of tea, some of the participating disciples could not hold on any longer. Cold sweat had already appeared on the foreheads of 2 disciples. It was obvious that they were resisting the pressure head-on, like a strained arrow. Finally, some of them could not hold on any longer. They stood up and quickly ran out of the formation. They breathed heavily, obviously using up a lot of energy. They were exhausted. The competition was important, but if they continued to resist, they would probably get injured. Moreover, they could not hold on any longer. Even if they held on for a little longer, they wouldn't be able to enter the top 3, so they might as well give up. Since someone had taken the lead, other disciples who could not hold on any longer walked out of the formation. These people could not hold on any longer and gave up one after another. Everyone's thoughts were the same. They could not get into the top 3 anyway, so why make it difficult for themselves? Once this psychological barrier collapsed, there was no point in holding on. In the end, there were only 5 people left in the formation. Among them were Lin Yi, the disciples of the Golden Bell Gate, the Hidden House Yu, and the Fire Wolf Gang. Without a doubt, these 5 people were the strongest contenders for the top 3. However, because of Lin Yi's existence, Old Master Zhao, Old Master Yu, and Old Master Tang, who were outside the formation, were very unhappy. How did this kid last until the end? Moreover, among these 5 people, it was obvious who was strong and who was weak. Although the Hidden House Yu and the Hidden House Yu's disciples stayed, they were undoubtedly resisting head-on. The Hidden House Yu's disciples relied on their special arts and strong strength to last until now. As for the Hidden House Yu, they ate a lot of qi replenishing pills before the competition so they could last until now. But even so, compared to Lin Yi, the Fire Wolf Gang, and the Golden Bell Gate, they were still far behind. I can't. I give up. The House Yu's disciple finally could not hold on any longer and ran out of the formation, gasping for air. Obviously, he had reached his limit and could not hold on any longer. Old Yu sighed. It seemed that 2nd and 3rd place were out of the question. Now that there were only 4 contestants left, the competition was naturally more intense. No one wanted to be eliminated, so naturally they were all holding on. The Hidden House Yu's disciple was already sweating profusely, and the Golden Bell Gate's disciple was not much better. Although he cultivated the Golden Bell Shield, with his age and cultivation, he couldn't withstand the pressure of heaven rank for such a long period of time. So, he couldn't hold on much longer. Looking at Lin Yi and the Fire Wolf Gang's disciple, both of them were sitting cross-legged as if nothing had happened. It was as if they were sitting in an ordinary space to rest, not in the formation at all. So, the Golden Bell Gate's disciple was waiting for the Hidden House Yu's disciple. He did not fight for 1st or 2nd place, he only wanted to fight for 3rd place. As long as he could rely on the House Yu's disciple, he would be 3rd. And the Hidden House Yu's disciple had the same thought. He could not compare to Lin Yi and the Fire Wolf Gang's disciple, but he felt that the Golden Bell Gate's disciple was definitely not having an easy time, so he gritted his teeth and held on. Chapter 2100. However, although Lin Yi was puzzled, he still followed the others to the training field behind the meeting hall. The formation had already been set up in advance. On the training field, there were some unknown stones and metals, probably used to set up the formation. Lin Yi had never seen these things before. It seemed like they were really good stuff borrowed from an ancient sect. The contestants entered the formation one by one. What caught Lin Yi's attention was that the contestant on Mingyue's side was actually a person with lifeless eyes. This person's lifeless eyes made Lin Yi's heart tremble slightly. He felt a sense of familiarity. He felt like he had seen it somewhere before, but he couldn't remember. Looking at that person entering the formation woodenly, he randomly found a place and sat down cross-legged, not interacting with anyone else. Lin Yi could only withdraw his gaze. The competition was about to start. Lin Yi naturally didn't have the time to be nosy, but the contestant from the Fire Wolf gang made Lin Yi feel uncomfortable. Get ready to start. When the horn sounds, we will activate our true chi and activate the formation. Contestants, please be careful. Elder Zhao said in a low voice. Sure enough, along with the sound of a bugle horn, the formation was activated. The disciples who were participating in the formation suddenly felt a huge pressure. A powerful Jin Qi pressed down on them, making them feel a kind of pressure that they couldn't pass through. The contestants didn't dare to be negligent. They hurriedly activated their inner Qi to resist it. This kind of true Qi was the true Qi of a heaven rank expert. It was different from the spiritual energy of heaven and earth. It couldn't be controlled. It could only be resisted with one's own true Qi, so it was a very difficult thing to do. This was like two experts competing with their true Qi. There was no need to play tricks. It was a direct confrontation. One could be injured if they weren't careful. Lin Yi frowned. He also activated the art of dragon mastery to resist it. Using his inner Qi, the pressure from before disappeared in a flash. It seemed like the heaven rank expert who activated the formation was very accurate, allowing the contestants to resist it. If it was a little stronger, then there would be no way to resist. If it was a little weaker, who knows how long it would take. But right now it was just right. It all depended on who could last longer. Lin Yi, on the other hand, didn't mind. He could withstand this kind of pressure for 100 years. He closed his eyes and entered the space of the jade pendant. The endless energy replenished Lin Yi's energy. In other words, Lin Yi didn't use any of his pure Qi at all. He was using the energy in the space of the jade pendant to fight against the pressure. Looking at Lin Yi in the formation, his expression didn't change. Just like an old monk in meditation, Elder Zhao's face became a little ugly. Although the other contestants didn't look uncomfortable, Lin Yi was too calm, wasn't he? If this continued, Lin Yi would probably get a good result again? This Lin Yi seems to be fine. Do we need to increase the strength of our Jin Qi to increase the pressure? Elder Zhao muttered to himself for a moment before asking. I don't think that's a good idea. There are others here, increasing the pressure. I'm afraid the others won't be able to handle it. Elder Yu shook his head, rejecting the suggestion. After all, Lin Yi being fine in the beginning didn't mean he would be fine all the time. Good, then let's wait and see. Elder Zhao nodded his head, and continued to pour his real Qi into the formation. After about the time it took to drink a cup of tea, some of the contestants couldn't hold it anymore. 2 of them already had cold sweat on their foreheads, evidently trying to resist it head-on. Finally, someone couldn't hold it anymore, standing up and quickly running out of the formation, gasping for air, evidently using up a lot of stamina. He was exhausted. The competition was important, but if they continued like this, they'd probably get hurt. Plus, they couldn't hold it anymore. Even if they held on a little longer, they wouldn't be able to get into the top 3, so they might as well just give up. Since someone had taken the lead, the others who couldn't hold it anymore walked out of the formation. These people couldn't hold it anymore, and one by one they gave up. Everyone's thoughts were the same. They couldn't get into the top 3 anyways. Why make it hard for themselves? Once this psychological barrier collapsed, there was no point in holding on. In the end, there were only 5 people left in the formation. Among them were Lin Yi, the Golden Clock sect, the Hidden House Yu, and the Fire Wolf gang. Without a doubt, these 5 people were the strongest contenders for the top 3. However, because of Lin Yi's existence, Elder Zhao, Elder Yu, and Elder Tang, who were outside the formation, were all very uneasy. How did this kid last until the end? Moreover, among these 5 people, it was obvious which one was stronger and which one was weaker. Although the Hidden House Yu and the Hidden House Yu stayed, they were undoubtedly holding on. The Hidden House Yu relied on their special mentality and strong strength to hold on until now. The Hidden House Yu, on the other hand, ate a lot of Qi replenishing pills before the competition. That's why they held on until now. But even so, compared to Lin Yi, the Fire Wolf gang, and the Golden Clock sect, they were still a lot weaker. I can't. I give up. The one from House Yu finally couldn't hold it anymore, running out of the formation, gasping for air, evidently reaching his limit and couldn't hold on any longer. Old Yu sighed. It seemed that second and third place were out of the question. Now that there were only 4 contestants left, the competition naturally became fiercer. No one wanted to be eliminated, so naturally they were all holding on. The Hidden House Yu was already sweating profusely, and the Golden Clock sect wasn't any better. Although he was using the Golden Clock cover, with his age and cultivation, he couldn't hold on for such a long period of time. so he couldn't hold on much longer. Looking at Lin Yi and the Fire Wolf gang, both of them were sitting cross-legged, as if nothing had happened, as if they weren't affected at all. It was as if they were resting on an empty ground, not in the formation at all. So, the Golden Clock sect was waiting for the hidden House Yu. He didn't fight for first or second place, he only wanted to fight for third place. As long as he could get past the House Yu, he would be third. Chapter 2101. As time passed, the two's faces went from normal to pale, then to an unnatural redness. Evidently they had suffered different degrees of internal injuries, but they were still holding on. Lin Yi, on the other hand, was completely fine. He was sitting cross-legged about to fall asleep. That Lin Yi is definitely not an Earth-class early phase. House Zhao's elder Kuei also saw the problem. An Earth-class early phase could hold on for so long? Wasn't it already too early? Even those Earth-class late phase peak disciples couldn't hold on for so long. And this House Yu's disciple was also an Earth-class late phase peak. Although the one from the Golden Bell sect was a mystic late phase peak, their kung fu was different. There was no comparison. Earth-class early phase? I'm afraid it's more than Earth-class late phase peak. House Yu's elder Kuei laughed coldly. Your family's Zhao Guang isn't wronged. He might not be able to hold on until now. Now? He probably couldn't hold on 10 minutes ago. Elder Zhao shook his head. Lin Yi is good at pretending to be a tenant to eat the tiger. As expected, this guy must be a sky class. Is he purposely suppressing his strength to play with us? House Yu's elder Kuei frowned and said suspiciously. Elder Tang sucked in a breath of cold air. Sky class. Was it real? It couldn't be, right? If he'd known that Lin Yi was a sky class, he wouldn't have treated Tang Yun like that. He should have acknowledged her and let her bring Lin Yi back to House Tang. What the hell, this Lin Yi was really good at pretending. He tricked me. He shouldn't be a sky class. House Yu's elder Kuei shook his head. It's not that easy to break through to sky class. Lin Yi is stronger than others of the same level, so he should be an Earth class late phase peak. That's more like it. You scared me. Elder Zhao smiled bitterly. Ah, the contestant from the Yu clan screamed and stumbled out of the formation. He spat out a mouthful of blood. Obviously, he had suffered a serious internal injury. He really couldn't hold on any longer. He couldn't compare to the freaks from the Golden Bell sect. Ah! Just as the disciple of the Yu clan came out, the disciple of the Golden Bell sect also stumbled out of the formation. He also had a mouthful of fresh meat. He didn't feel good either. Although he had the Golden Bell shield, it wasn't enough. Although he was injured, he still got third place. It was worth it. The right disciple Kuei was unwilling, but he didn't do anything. If he came out a second earlier than the opponent, he would still lose. Then why hasn't Lin Yi come out yet? Yu family's elder Kuei Yanzi said unwillingly when he saw that his disciple had lost. Who knows? Should we increase the pressure a little more? In any case, there are only two of us left. Old Zhao suggested. All right. Lure that Lin Yi out. This time we can't let Lin Yi win no matter what. House Yu's elder Kuei Yanzi nodded. And so, these old Kuei Yanzi exerted their strength at the same time. They increased the strength of their chi and increased the pressure of the formation. Lin Yi, who was in the formation, could clearly feel the sudden increase in pressure. It seemed that the people outside wanted to pressure him. But why would Lin Yi be afraid of this pressure? There weren't any enemies attacking him here, and he could absorb as much energy as he wanted in the Jade space. It was more than enough to fight against this pressure. Looking at the disciple of the Fire Wolf gang not far away, Lin Yi's lips curved into a cold smile. He closed his eyes and continued to chant the incantation in the Jade space. No way, right? Lin Yi kid doesn't seem to have any reaction? Old Zhao looked at Lin Yi strangely. How was that possible? This Lin Yi, was he really that strong? Increase the strength of your vital energy. Old Right gritted his teeth and said. And so, these old Kuei Yanzi began to increase the strength of their chi, hoping to force Lin Yi out. This time, if Lin Yi won, then this summit against the Hidden House Han would be a huge joke. Lin Yi felt the chi in his body increase again, but he smiled faintly. More. Old Zhao saw that Lin Yi was fine, so he continued. And so, these old Kuei Yanzi began to increase the strength of their chi for the third time. The pressure of the chi in the array had already reached a super strong level, more than double of the previous one. Of course, although the pressure of several heaven rank experts passed through the array, it was impossible to cause any harm to Lin Yi. After all, the chi of those heaven rank experts was evenly distributed in the array, while Lin Yi was only 1 point in the array. No matter how strong it was still evenly distributed. There was a world of difference from being directly attacked by a heaven rank expert. These old Kuei Yanzi only had a small portion of their chi that went to Lin Yi to fight against Lin Yi. The majority of it went to other parts of the array and was wasted. Lin Yi once again felt that the chi pressure around him had increased a lot, but this level of pressure, Lin Yi really didn't put it in his eyes. Although Lin Yi had to use more chi to fight against it, this chi came from the space in the jade pendant. It was endless. Lin Yi just sat there with his eyes closed and he could continuously absorb the energy from the space in the jade pendant to fight against the pressure. This isn't right, this Lin Yi, just how strong is he? You still fine? Old Yu Yinzi finally felt that something was wrong. This was too exaggerated, wasn't it? The other Earth-class disciples, even those at the peak of the late phase, couldn't withstand the initial pressure, but Lin Yi, under the continuous increase of the chi strength of these old Kuei Yanzi, he still didn't seem to care. Old Yu Yanzi, what do you think about this? Old Zhao looked at old Ancestor Yu and asked. Old Ancestor Yu was an old sky class and he had seen a lot of things. He could only ask him about this strange situation. This doesn't make sense. Old Yu Yanzi shook his head. He didn't know what was going on with Lin Yi. Could it be that this Lin Yi was already a sky class, and he had been pretending to be a tenant all this time? Why don't we use our full strength? Old Tang's eyes flashed with hatred. This Lin Yi made House Tang lose face at his birthday banquet. Although not many people knew about this, only House Yu, Sky Elixir Sect and Ice Palace knew about it, but Old Tang's hatred towards Lin Yi didn't decrease. He especially regretted that he didn't pull Tang Yun to his side, causing her to separate from House Tang. Otherwise, if Lin Yi really was a sky class, then he would be the son-in-law of the hidden House Tang. How strong would the hidden House Tang be? Chapter 2102. When they were discussing how to kill Lin Yi, Elder Tang wasn't very enthusiastic. After all, the grudge between House Tang and Lin Yi couldn't be revealed. Back then, Elder Tang didn't know that Lin Yi was this strong, so he didn't think that Lin Yi would be a threat to the hidden House Tang. But now, it was different. He was afraid that Lin Yi would take revenge, so he wanted to use this chance to kill Lin Yi. Go all out? Old Master Zhao was slightly stunned, but he nodded and said, good idea. No problem. Elder Yu and Elder Yu nodded as well. Elder Yu and Elder Zhao were in-laws, while Elder Yu and Elder Tang were in-laws. They all had some grudges with Lin Yi, so they didn't mind using this chance to kill Lin Yi. Since the four of them had come to an agreement, the next moment they raised their chi to the pinnacle. At that moment, the strength of Sky Class was revealed, and the chi poured into the formation like a tidal wave. Lin Yi immediately frowned. Although this formation had already dispersed the pressure of the true chi from the few heaven rank elders outside, it still brought a lot of pressure to Lin Yi when they activated it with all their strength. Even if the pressure wasn't as strong as Sky Class, it could still reach the peak of Earth Class late phase. Or perhaps even stronger. Lin Yi smiled coldly as he felt the pressure on his body increase. He knew that the four old things outside had the intention to kill him. This hidden house summit had its own rules, and unless it was absolutely necessary, they wouldn't break the rules. After all, there were ancient people watching from above. But this kind of dirty trick to kill Lin Yi wasn't part of the rules. If Lin Yi couldn't handle the pressure of the formation and died, even the ancient people wouldn't question him. After all, this was considered overestimating one's strength in the competition. If you can't handle it, then leave. No one forced you to stay in the formation. You can come out whenever you want. But since you don't want to come out and court your own death, you can't blame anyone else. Lin Yi opened his eyes and glanced at the participant from the Fire Wolf gang. A strange smile appeared on his face as he stood up and quickly walked out of the array. When Lin Yi walked out of the formation, House Zhao, House Yu, House Tang, and House Yu let out a breath of relief. Since Lin Yi couldn't take the pressure anymore, he probably wasn't a sky class yet, or at most an early phase. I finally made this kid lose once. It wasn't easy. Old Master Zhao snorted coldly and said. He had just broken through to heaven stage not long ago, and his realm had yet to stabilize, so he had used too much true chi before, causing him to feel exhausted. Although it wasn't the four of us who won, at least it's a good start. We've successfully turned the bad luck around. Old Master, you said. Han Qianba and Han Xiaopo were surprised that Lin Yi couldn't last until the end. After all, they saw that Lin Yi was holding on, and he looked so calm and composed. Naturally, they thought that Lin Yi would be the last one to come out of the formation. They didn't expect that Lin Yi would be the second last one to come out. Although this result was unexpected, it wasn't too disappointing. After all, Lin Yi was the champion of every competition, and that wasn't too realistic. Second place was already good enough. At least he didn't have to lose his family's bet. When Lin Yi came out, it meant that the competition was over. The last person who didn't come out of the formation would be the winner. Therefore, Old Master Zhao, Old Master Yu, and Old Master Tang stopped infusing true qi into the formation at the same time. Old Master Zhao walked over proudly, and his proud eyes swept across the disciples, and finally stopped on Han Tianba, Han Xiaopa, and Lin Yi. He smiled and said, "The winner of this individual endurance competition is the Fire Wolf Gang, the second place is the Hidden Han family, and the third place is the Golden Bell sect." Wait. Just when the two sects were about to come forward to collect their bets, Lin Yi spoke. "Why, Lin Yi, what's the matter? Are you not satisfied with this result?" Old Master Zhao looked at Lin Yi and asked coldly. "Of course I'm not satisfied." Lin Yi looked at Old Master Zhao indifferently. "The result is out. What else do you have to say? You were the second last to come out. Do you have any objections to the ranking?" Old Master Zhao frowned. He thought that Lin Yi wanted to say that the formation's power increased in the later stages, but it didn't matter. Even if Lin Yi said it, Old Master Zhao would still have something to say. "Of course I have something to say. May I ask, why is the pressure different from before in the formation? Why is the pressure getting stronger and stronger?" Lin Yi asked coldly. In fact, when Lin Yi came out of the formation, it wasn't because the pressure was getting stronger. If Lin Yi used all his strength to resist, he would naturally be able to resist for a while. However, the reason why Lin Yi came out was because he had other plans, and Lin Yi didn't want to forcefully resist and get hurt. Oh, about that? Old Master Zhao seemed to have expected that Lin Yi would ask this question. He said faintly, "The power before was relatively small to eliminate most of the participants. After that, the remaining participants are all strong. If we want to determine the winner as soon as possible, we naturally have to increase the pressure. Otherwise, when can the winner be determined? There is another competition in the evening. If we drag it on like this, won't it delay the competition in the evening?" "Oh, I see." Lin Yi nodded and looked at Old Master Zhao sarcastically. He said, "I thought you deliberately wanted to kill people." "Nonsense. How could we deliberately want to kill people?" Old Master Zhao snorted. "That's right, I knew it. How big of a grudge is this, to be able to use this kind of method to kill without leaving a trace? It's amazing." Lin Yi smiled and nodded. "Do you have any questions? If there's no problem, let's start receiving the prize." Old Master Zhao said impatiently. "Yes." Lin Yi said, "There's another problem. Your ranking is wrong." "The ranking is wrong? How is it wrong?" Old Master Zhao asked. "The first place should be me representing the Hidden Han family." Lin Yi said. "Lin Yi, you want to be the champion so much that you are crazy, right? Even if you've been in the lead and won a few matches in a row, it doesn't mean that you're the champion of all the matches, right?" Elder Zhao said, amused. "Lin Yi, are you sick? Then I want to ask you, Old Master Zhao. If I am not the champion, who is the champion?" Lin Yi asked. Chapter 2103. Oh, this is the first time I've heard that a female can be the champion. What an eye-opener. Lin Yi shook his head as if he had just realized something. "What nonsense, what are you talking about? What female?" Elder Zhao stared blankly for a moment. Then he looked towards the formation and saw that the Fire Wolf Gang disciple was still sitting cross-legged in the formation. He didn't even come out. Previously, everyone was only concerned about who the champion would be, but they had neglected the situation of the Fire Wolf Gang disciple. Only now did they realize the problem. "You guys increased your pressure and suppressed the Fire Wolf Gang disciple. I was quite puzzled. I thought you guys were purposely trying to shoot him, but I didn't expect it to be a competition. There's nothing we can do about it, he's not as skilled as you are, so what if he gets shot?" Lin Yi said, "Since he got shot, then the champion should be mine, right?" This. Elder Zhao's face darkened. He didn't expect this to happen. And Mingyue, who was about to take away her winnings, stopped in her tracks. She quickly turned around and walked towards the Fire Wolf Gang disciple. When she saw what was happening, her expression changed. She looked at Elder Zhao coldly. "Elder Zhao, what is the meaning of this? Why haven't I heard of it before? There's a rule of temporarily increasing the pressure?" The previous pressure was agreed to be constant. That was why the Fire Wolf Gang sent out a biohuman. This was a biohuman test subject created by Professor Yin's mentor-disciple system. His resistance to pressure was naturally stronger than ordinary people, but he was still a test subject after all. It was impossible for him to resist the pressure indefinitely. It was just that this test subject didn't know pain under the pressure. After the competition ended, this biohuman would be considered a useless person, but he would definitely not get shot. Now old Zhao, Yingzi, and the others had suddenly increased their aura, causing the biohuman to be affected. Naturally, and Mingyue was unhappy and furious. She had said that the Fire Wolf gang was the local tyrant here. If there were any benefits, she had to give them some. Therefore, Mingyue had thought for a long time before she thought of using this kind of cyborg to participate in the competition. After all, this cyborg was a person that had been transformed by a creature. He did not have any will or thoughts. If he was to stay in the formation, no matter how painful it was, he would not come out on his own. But now he was a slut. How could a slut accept an award? This was equivalent to having an accident in the middle of a match, and was automatically disqualified. It was even more impossible to win. Mr. N, we didn't make this clear in advance. I'm sorry, we'll pay for your losses. Elder Yu sighed deeply. At this point, he had no choice but to compromise and appease Mingyue. In Mingyue, they could stand up to a family that wasn't even one of the 5 lesser aristocratic families. What was there for a hidden aristocratic family to fear? However, Mingyue wasn't representing Haosen, but the Fire Wolf gang. The Fire Wolf gang was a powerful sect. Although it was only established recently, there were many masters in the group. Even the ancient sects didn't dare to challenge them. It could be said that there were many sky-class masters in the Fire Wolf gang. Who would dare to be a member of this kind of big gang that was both black and white? Moreover, this Fire Wolf gang frequently used unconventional methods, using some methods to transform people into humans. It was practically comparable to the sects of the pugilistic world. Therefore, not to mention the Hidden Yu clan, even the sects of the pugilistic world wouldn't dare to oppose the Fire Wolf gang. So, in this situation they could only give up some benefits to appease Mingyue. Alright, if that's the case, I hope you can give me a satisfactory answer. And Mingyue said faintly. If the Fire Wolf gang's disciple wins, then the ranking of the competition will be determined accordingly. First place goes to the Hidden Han family, second place goes to the Golden Clock sect, third place goes to the Hidden Right family. Old Zhao had no choice but to announce the results. At this time the happiest ones were Han Tianba and Han Xiaopa. They were originally in second place, but now they had become the champion. This joy came too quickly. And they finally knew why Lin Yi walked out of the formation. It turned out that Lin Yi already knew that the other contestant had already won. Since it was already a contestant, what was the point of fighting? On the other hand, Old Yu was ecstatic. Initially, the Hidden Right clan had been eliminated from the top 3, but now they had unexpectedly returned to the top 3. This allowed the Hidden Right clan to slightly reverse the situation. Of course, the matter of privately raising the pressure of the formation was shared by the 4 heaven rank elders. When the time comes, they would have to give Mingyue an explanation. Perhaps they would have to pay some good things, but this was a matter between the 4 families. Naturally, the Right elder was not too worried. I knew it, boss would definitely win. For consecutive championships, haha, this Hidden House Summit is really tailor-made for you, boss. It's like giving our Hidden Han family a treasure. Han Xiaopa said with a laugh. After hearing Han Xiaopa's words, the faces of those old bastards and sect leaders who had seized control of the Han family's assets turned extremely unsightly. This was a slap in the face, a blatant slap in the face. Originally, the competition and rules that they had set up were all targeted at the Han family. But now it had become tailor-made for them. This was simply infuriating. Alright, the Hidden Han clan will take back their winnings. The Golden Bell sect and the Hidden Right clan will take back their things. Old Zhao said in a sinister tone. Lin Yi glanced at the wager between the Golden Clock sect and the Hidden Zhao family. The Golden Clock sect's wager was the small rejuvenating pill that they had previously obtained, while the Hidden Right family's wager was a foundation establishment pill. The small rejuvenating pill was useless to Lin Yi, so it was something that Lin Yi had exchanged for. Hence, Lin Yi wasn't interested in it. On the other hand, the foundation establishment pill was a type of pill that could change a cultivator's physique. Its main use was to allow those who had missed the best period of cultivation to take this pill and re-embark on the path of cultivation. Back then, Zhao Qi had used a foundation establishment pill in order to cultivate his puppet refinement. Although this thing looked precious to Lin Yi, it was just a piece of trash that took up space in his hands. For Lin Yi to improve a cultivator's strength, regardless of physique or aptitude, as long as he could use the heart-nurturing chant, he could instantly improve his strength. Hence, this foundation establishment pill was completely useless. I won't be exchanging this time. You guys can take back your things, Lin Yi said as he collected his wager. Whether it was Old Yu of the Hidden House Yu or Jin Gang of the Golden Clock sect, they all believed that Lin Yi was an alchemist. Alchemy didn't have any attraction to him, so this result wasn't surprising at all. They silently kept their things. Chapter 2104. There was no one here that he could get along with. Lin Yi didn't have the time to waste with them. Since he had gotten what he wanted, he might as well go back and rest. He needed to prepare for the next match. After Lin Yi left and Mingyue looked at Elder Zhao, Elder Yu and Elder Tang with a dark face, the four of you, what is the meaning of this? Aren't you going to give me an explanation? What is going on? If you don't give me an explanation, I can't help but suspect that you did it on purpose. This old Master Zhao smiled bitterly and said, Mr. N, don't be angry. We were a bit inappropriate in this matter, but our starting point was good. What intentions? And Mingyue asked. Our original intention was to kill Lin Yi. Elder Yu explained, we just didn't think that it would affect Mr. An's people. Kill Lin Yi? And Mingyue wasn't stupid. After Elder Yu's explanation, he understood the reason, but he was still a little angry. If that's the case, then this is considered an accident. I understand, but the Fire Wolf gang might not understand. Besides, I already said that I would win a bet. It's fine if the disciple dies, but we can't just lose the bet, right? The four of us will make up for the bet, Elder Yu said helplessly. Okay, if that's the case, then this matter is over. And Mingyue nodded and left without another word. Sigh, we went for wool and came home shorn. Elder Tang sighed. Yeah, it was a little reckless. Old Man Zhao also said. Forget it, let's not talk about this. The next match is the antidote match. Elder Tang, this match will depend on our true abilities. Elder Yu said. This competition could be considered a common benefit for the Hidden Yu family and the Hidden Tang family. One of these two families started by refining medicine, while the other started by making poison. They were both very good at detoxification. Therefore, it was hard to say who would win the next competition. Okay, let's go home and make some preparations. Elder Tang nodded his head. Lin Yi, on the other hand, had a nonchalant expression on his face after winning the tournament 4 times in a row. Han Xiaopa, on the other hand, was extremely excited, as if he'd received a huge benefit. He couldn't stop talking as soon as he got back. That's enough, little pup. Let Mr. Lin have a good rest. There's still a match tonight. Han Qianba knew that this endurance competition was the most exhausting. If he didn't rest well, how would he have the energy to continue the competition at night? Of course, what he didn't know was that Lin Yi didn't use any energy at all. He had been using the energy in the space in the jade pendant. It's fine. Let him speak, Lin Yi said indifferently. Boss, you're too awesome. I'll have to rely on you for guidance in the future. You're an all-rounder. You know everything. Han Xiaopa said excitedly. Genius? Actually, I know a real genius. Lin Yi shook his head. He didn't know if he was a genius, but he knew that although his success was partly due to the art of dragon mastery, a large part of it was due to his hard work in cultivating day and night. No cultivator would be more hardworking than Lin Yi. From the moment he obtained the art of dragon mastery, he cultivated day and night. Even now he still cultivated every day. He would cultivate whenever he had time. Genius? To be called a genius by boss? What kind of demonic existence is that? Han Xiaopa said in surprise. Her surname is also Han. Lin Yi laughed. So, you have to work hard too. Her surname is also Han? Han Xiaopa was slightly stunned. She's actually from the same family? That's right. If there's a chance, I'll introduce her to you. When that time comes, you'll know what a genius is. Lin Yi said. At night, the Hidden House Zhao's disciples brought over exquisite dishes as well. The Hidden House Zhao never made things difficult for Lin Yi when it came to these trivial matters, and they didn't cause any trouble for him when it came to food and living. It could be seen that although the Hidden Zhao family hated Lin Yi to the core, they still put in enough effort on the surface. This also made Lin Yi feel a lot more at ease. At least, the Hidden Zhao family didn't want to go against him in this Hidden Family Summit. Even today they only did things in the dark. They wouldn't go against Lin Yi openly. This was enough. Anyway, after the competition, Lin Yi would leave. What could the Hidden Zhao family do to him? After dinner, the hidden Zhao family disciple from before appeared again. Is family head Han here? Today's third competition, the poison identification competition, is about to begin. Family head Han, please bring the participating disciples and bets to the meeting room. Let's go. Han Qianba nodded and left the room with Lin Yi and Han Xiaopa. Boss, do you have confidence in this competition? Han Xiaopa asked in a low voice. Poison identification? I have some understanding of this. Lin Yi smiled and said calmly, it shouldn't be a big problem. That's good. Let's take first place again and show those hidden aristocratic families that our hidden Han family is the best with our big boss around. That's good. Take first place again and let those hidden families see that our hidden Han family is the best with our boss around. Han Xiaopa was even more confident than Lin Yi. Han Qianba shook his head. He felt like he was dreaming. Just half a month ago, Han Qianba was still worried about the hidden Han family's future. He was worried about the hidden family's summit. But now, the hidden family had become a dark horse taking first place. The funniest thing was that those hidden families hated Lin Yi to death, but they didn't dare to do anything to Lin Yi in the open. They only dared to do bad things in the dark. In the end, they went for wool and came home shorn. Lin Yi exposed them and made them offend the Fire Wolf gang for no reason. Xiaopa, I can help you hide the Han family this time. The other hidden families don't dare to do anything because they're afraid of me. They're afraid of my trump card and they're afraid of my background. Lin Yi was very clear about this. He said to Han Xiaopa, so, after the hidden family summit, your hidden Han family must keep a low profile. Don't let those hidden families have anything to use against you. Because of me, they won't dare to do anything to you in the open. But in the dark, they won't let you go. The pressure they used on me in the previous competition is proof. Chapter 2105. Han Qianba was a little surprised that Lin Yi had already realized this. Han Qianba had wanted to give Han Xiaopa some advice after the competition, but he hadn't expected Lin Yi to say it first. But that was fine too. It was obvious that Han Xiaopa trusted Lin Yi more now. What your hidden house needs to do next is rest and train hard. Since you have money, don't get involved in the business of the hidden houses. Lin Yi said. I'll help you step by step, but I'm afraid I won't be able to help much at the moment. Once your house has more Earth-class late-phase peak fighters, then you'll be able to stabilize your position as a hidden house. If you're lucky enough to break through to Sky class, then you might even become the leader of the hidden houses. Han Xiaopa nodded and fell into deep thought. As for the materials for the Qi gathering pill, if possible, try to collect as many as you can, Lin Yi said. All right. Han Xiaopa didn't know why Lin Yi wanted so many materials, but the fate of the hidden house was now tied to Lin Yi's. Only when Lin Yi became stronger would the hidden house rise. They arrived at the Zhao house's meeting room and registered the names of the participants and their bets. When they saw that the hidden house's name was still Lin Yi's, no one was surprised. They were getting used to it. This competition is a poison identification competition. Old Master Zhao waited for everyone to finish registering and take their seats before he slowly said, the rules of the competition are very simple. We have 100 sets of poisons made from various poisonous insects and plants. They will be placed in the computer's poison dispenser. The dispenser will randomly select 10 types of poisons from these 100 types of poisons and mix them into a new type of poison. The mixing will be random and everyone's concoction method will be different. This also avoids the possibility of cheating by memorizing the poison recipe beforehand. After the poison was created, the contestants would randomly draw lots to choose a set of poisons to identify within a specified time. The contestant who identified the most poisons correctly would be the winner. Of course, you can only list 10 poisons at most. If you list a bunch of poisons with the intention of testing the waters, you will automatically forfeit if you list more than 10. That can't be right, right? Han Xiaopa raised his doubts again. What objection do you have? Old Master Zhao looked at Han Xiaopa unhappily. Why was he the most troublesome? There's a loophole in your rules. If there are more than one contestant and all of them are correct, how are they going to win? Han Xiaopa was a very smart person and liked to study loopholes in the rules. All correct? Old Zhao frowned. Do you think it's possible? These poisonous insects and plants were strange. Even the disciples of the hidden Tang family and the hidden Yu family might not be able to identify all of them in a short period of time. They might even make mistakes. Therefore, even if there was one who identified all of them correctly, it would be a coincidence. How could there be more than one? What? How about this? If there's someone who's as correct as my boss, then my boss wins? Han Xiaopa asked. How do you know Lin Yi will win before the match? Old Master Zhao sneered and said, I think you have been blinded by the previous victory. Do you think that the future victory belongs to your family? Although Lin Yi's medical skills were very good, Old Master Zhao knew this very well. But no matter how good he was, could he be as good as someone else's specialized research? If there are more than one who are all correct, then the time of identification will prevail. Old Master Yu added. Not bad. Do you have any other questions? Old Master Zhao nodded and asked. No. Han Xiaopa said with satisfaction. In that case, all contestants get ready to start the match. Old Master Zhao said, prepare the poison machine and start preparing the poison. Contestants draw lots here. In these details, it was impossible to cheat. With so many pairs of eyes watching, Lin Yi randomly drew a lot and walked to the side. Everyone else did the same. Everyone went to draw lots directly. They didn't touch anything. Obviously, they didn't want others to mistakenly think that they wanted to cheat. After the lots were drawn, there were still half of the tags left in the bucket, and these tags also had the corresponding poison on the poison dispenser. However, no one drew it, so it was naturally useless. This was also for the fairness of the competition. Each contestant received their own small bottle from the poison machine according to their own tag. They walked to the side and sat down to start identifying the poison inside. Identification was Lin Yi's strength. When he was young, Lin Yi almost grew up in a pile of medicinal herbs. Old Master Zhao gave him this kind of problem every day. Whether it was poisonous insects or poisonous herbs, there was almost nothing that Lin Yi couldn't identify unless it was something very special. For example, something like the fire spirit's fruit that he had never seen before. However, it was impossible for such a precious item to appear in the competition of the Hidden House Summit. Using such a precious item as the content of the test and mixing it with poison was simply a waste of a heavenly treasure. Even if a house won, it wouldn't be worth it. Therefore, Lin Yi only tasted the poison in the bottle and spat it out. Then he used his chi to force the remaining poison out of his mouth. He quickly picked up a pen and wrote the names of 10 poisonous insects and poisonous herbs on the paper. Then he stood up and indicated that he was done. Seeing that Lin Yi was the first to stand up, Old Master Zhao's face twitched. Wasn't this too fast? Old Master Tang and Old Master Yu were also shocked. For Lin Yi to come out so early, there were only two possibilities. Either he gave up or he had already completed the identification. But would Lin Yi give up? Based on their understanding of Lin Yi wouldn't give up easily. Not only would he not give up, but he would also try his best to fight for first place. Boss. Seeing that Lin Yi stood up, Han Xiaopa hurriedly went up to him. Is it done? More or less. Lin Yi didn't have much pride on his face. This was his strength. If he won, then he won. There was nothing to brag about. However, the previous few matches made Lin Yi spend a lot of effort. This match, however, didn't have any suspense. Regardless of whether Lin Yi gave up or completed the identification, the disciples of the Hidden Yu family and Tang family couldn't sit still. The second to come out was the disciple of the Hidden Tang family, and the disciple of the Hidden Yu family followed closely behind. Chapter 2106. Translator, Ryuxinji Editor. H2DH2 Mr. Once 3 people walked out, the others did not follow. Firstly, their ability to identify was not that strong. Secondly, if all 3 of them identified correctly, then the top 3 would already be out. It would be impossible for them to be in the top 3 even if they came out again. They might as well wait until the end of the competition. And if one of these 3 people did not get it all right and the remaining people got it all right, they could also replace them. When the time was up, these people left. At this time, Old Master Zhao pressed a few buttons on the computer. Then, the big screen showed the poison formulas of each set. They were all different and were all random. The Zhao family disciples, who were the emissaries of the summit, also began to compare the answers of each contestant with the big screen for grading. Soon the top 3 names were out. What was more dramatic was that the top 3 were all identified correctly. In this way, the ranking would indeed be judged according to the time they took to identify the poison. Lin Yi first place, Hidden Tang family second place, Hidden Yu family third place. This name made everyone speechless. Lin Yi won again, and it was with an absolute advantage. Lin Yi used less than 1/3 of the time of the competition. and no matter how fast the Yu family and Tang family were, they still used nearly half of the time. Who was better and who was worse was obvious. Although this result made old Master Zhao very unhappy, he had to announce, the champion is the hidden Han family, the second is the hidden Tang family, and the third is the hidden Yu family. All families please come and collect your bets. The hidden Yu family took out the previous building foundation pill, which Lin Yi directly ignored. However, the hidden Tang family took out a detoxification pill, which attracted Lin Yi's attention. Lin Yi also had the formula for this detoxification pill. It did not need to be refined and only needed to be mixed with some herbs. Strictly speaking, it belonged to the zero-grade pill that alchemists talked about. It could be made without the foundation of alchemy. Of course, although this detoxification pill was easy to make, some of the herbs needed were very rare. Although Lin Yi had the formula, he did not have some of the more precious herbs. Old Man Lin's herb garden could not be planted due to the climate, so Lin Yi had not been able to successfully concoct it. This antidote pill was very powerful. As long as it wasn't a heaven-defying poison, it could cure anything, including the deadly 7 herbs poison that Pin Liang made. That was why Lin Yi was tempted. Old Man Tang, for the sake of your grandson, I'll exchange the antidote with you. What do you want? Lin Yi didn't know why, but he had an inexplicable good impression of Tang Yu. Motherfucker. Grandfather, you couldn't help but curse. It was too infuriating. After so many matches, his people didn't win a single one. On the other hand, Lin Yi won continuously. This is strange. Grandfather Tang frowned. Why is this Lin Yi so strong? Let's see. In tomorrow's match, Lin Yi might not be his strong point. Grandfather Zhao said and looked at Diamond and Mingyue. That's right. In terms of endurance, no one can take more hits than our Golden Clock sect. Diamond said. Hehe, my people are also very good at taking hits. And Mingyue lost a match before. Although she received compensation afterward, it was still a little embarrassing. She hoped to stand out again. Okay, if that's the case, then we definitely can't let Lin Yi win again tomorrow. Grandfather Yu nodded. Both of you, no matter which one of you wins, you just can't let Lin Yi win again. If this goes on, we'll really lose a lot of face. No problem. Diamond nodded. Hehe, of course. And Mingyue also smiled and nodded. You're tuning in to the Han Li's Wuxia Chronicles YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.